Two suggestions there would be to, depending on the capabilities of the people that are in the room, and if they have the capabilities of doing FM, you may want to do a low broadcast of a low FM audio channel for everybody. We'll talk about that. Depending on the capabilities of the people that are in the room, and if they have the capabilities of doing FM, you may want to do a low broadcast of a low FM audio channel.
We literally live on YouTube each week.
Join the fun, learn the tech, don't be late. We'll dive into the settings, explore every single tab. Make sure your mic is clear, your camera not a drab. We'll show you how to host like a pro, manage like a king. With Zoom Test Kitchen, you'll be zooming with a zing. Zooming in, we're testing it all. Live on YouTube each week. From audio to video.
Here's one for you, Michael.
We're the Zoom Test Kitchen crew, here to innovate. Join the fun, learn the tech, don't be late. Whether you're new to Zoom or an expert in disguise, we've got tips and tricks. We'll open up your eyes. From polls to quizzes, we test functionalities. Join us live, see what Zoom does with ease. So if your meetings lag, or you can't share your screen, or if your audio echoes like you're stuck in between, we've got solutions, we'll show you how it's done. Zoom Test Kitchen, where Zoom fun has begun. Zooming in, we're testing it all. Live on YouTube each week. From audio to video, no feature we won't tweak. We're the Zoom Test Kitchen crew, here to innovate. Join the fun, learn the tech, don't be late. So tune in, don't miss out on this tech fest we lead. Every Friday, Zoom Test Kitchen, where you'll succeed. We'll make your Zoom meeting smooth, keep the tech in check. In the Zoom Test Kitchen, we've got your back, no wreck. So tune in, don't miss out on this tech fest we lead. Every Friday, Zoom Test Kitchen, where you'll succeed. We'll make your Zoom meeting smooth, keep the tech in check. In the Zoom Test Kitchen, we've got your back, no wreck. These lyrics capture the essence of what the Zoom Test Kitchen does, focusing on testing and teaching about Zoom functionalities in a fun, engaging way. Zooming in, we're testing it all. Live on YouTube each week. From audio to video, no feature we won't tweak. We're the Zoom Test Kitchen crew, here to innovate. Join the fun, learn the tech, don't be late. We've got your back, no wreck. We've got your back, no wreck. These lyrics capture the essence of what the Zoom Test Kitchen does, focusing on testing and teaching about Zoom functionalities in a fun, engaging way.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the kitchen. I apologize for the delay and the new YouTube link. We had our YouTube streaming app decided to not work again, our live streaming app, and so we had to on the fly fix things up. Boy, we have a nice crowd today. Very, very nice. Sherry's in the waiting room. I guess we'll welcome her in. Good to see everyone here. Ray Harwood is back. So happy to see you.
Good to be here. Good to be here.
Missed you. So freshly baked out of the Zoom Docs oven, we can export. That's it. But that's a pretty big deal. We can export. Thank you, Ray. We'll get into that. I do want to check one thing. So this is my Tiles computer. Now, do me a favor, Mike or someone wave. I want to see how much, if the connection is any better. Can someone, yeah, see, so.
I'm
Yeah,
officially not on the list, David, officially.
Oh, you're not on the list just because I don't like you. It's better.
Well,
So I was having major NDI problems. This is much better now, I think. It turns out my computer was not plugged into Ethernet. Go figure. It looked like it was.
That lovely Wi-Fi.
I thought it was. So, but now I know it's working because I turned Wi-Fi off and it's plugged in. So good. That works. All right. Beautiful. Let's make the rounds. What say you? Let's make the rounds. See who's here. Mr. Latta, how you doing?
am I allowed to be on the tiles?
I don't know. You are allowed
I don't
to be on
know.
tiles. So I learned, by the way, actually, wait, I'm glad you said that. So wait, take a look at this again, right? So because there was a question last week as to why I'm not seeing everybody on the outside that's in this meeting. The answer is that the screens that are covered up by the cutout are still there, and they're still grabbing people's cameras. And so, Mike, you're here in this view. You're just not.
Oh,
Yes, you're behind me somehow. So that is currently a limitation or a feature. If you don't want to look at Mike, you just make sure he stays behind. I mean, you have no control over where he goes. But actually, you could control that. But that's why you don't see everybody in the circles on the outside. And it is, again, another, that's a reminder of the fact that we are using, so often I find myself using these tools in ways that they weren't really intended for. This is best used when you have a large group that can really fill that whole, gallery view of however you've created that. Go ahead, Andy.
Yeah, you could go in and actually replace some of the tiles that have your emoji on there with Mike and other people. So you could put them in there if you wanted to, but you just choose to leave Mike hidden.
In Tiles purgatory. No, I absolutely could do that. What I love about Tiles is that I don't have to put people, that it just kind of magically happens. But yes, I could absolutely. Although there is a little bit of a, so this is the Tiles machine, and where am I? Let's see, I'm right here, I guess, yeah. So this is me, and I can't get to the block button. Like there's something kind of strange. I don't know if it's maybe the way that maybe the size that I have this at, but I can star, but I can't quite get my mouse over to that block button because it's not on the image itself. See, now I'll be able to get to it. It's not very responsive yet. So I could do that. And I could, let's see, if I click on this guy, I think I have to go into the editor, don't I? Do I do this in the editor, or where do I do this?
So how long does it take for it to fully populate?
What do you mean?
I mean, we have, 15 people in the room I'm seeing in the list?
So no, again, so it is populated, but I have the hole, see how they're kind of behind here? When you turn the hole punch on, those people are still populated, but you have essentially cut them out of the scene, which is why, and they will cycle through to other places over time. That's why having a large group is I think better.
So Dave, do you consider that to be broken? I mean, I think most of us would think that's just wrong.
Well, far be it from me to tell so Zoom what's broken and what isn't. But I mean, would I like those other people to just go back into circulation in video feeds that are visible? Yeah, of course. No, he does not usually, John. Yes, I absolutely would like that. But this is the way it works right now, and I'll take it. I don't know though how to. I guess the only way to pin someone. So I'd have to switch. I'm trying to Alan. Andy, I'm trying to do what you just suggested.
Yeah,
But-
so you, I think you click on one of the blank spots and
Yeah, but
say replace.
there's nothing to click on there.
Um,
I can replace a live camera, but I can't
Oh,
replace
hmm.
one of these.
That's interesting. Yeah, that seems like a bug.
So you can't pin people there.
I'll trade with Mike. I don't need more camera time.
You want to trade with Mike?
Sure.
All right, let me see how I do this. I'm gonna check Mike. Wait a second. Wait, you want to trade with Mike? Oh, I clicked Andy.
David,
So-
can you drag and drop the tiles?
No, you cannot.
Feature request.
Feature request. Let me put in.
Because that would be a fast way to do your layout on the fly. Just grab the live videos and drop them onto the avatar tiles.
Like Production Studio works.
Or the other feature request is to just take the ones that you're blocking and automatically have them slide to the edge or get
Right,
into
so
the queue.
if I go through this person by person, I can, I can't do it with the placeholders. That's the shame. I mean, if this did it automatically, that would be fantastic. The better, the second next best option would be for me to be able to tell tiles I want to move these placeholders.
Sorry, Mike.
By the way, that Andy right now is sitting somewhere banging his head against the wall because there is a way to do that, and I just don't know what I'm doing.
Well, Mike, is the reason that you can't substitute someone in one of the blank tiles is because everybody's represented and there's nobody to put in? Because it would seem to me like if you had it just down to 4 tiles or 6 tiles and there were 10 of us, you should be able to like go. I mean, there wouldn't be an empty one at that point, but
right. But yes, what I'd like to be able to do though, you're right. What I'd like to be able to do, this is a terrible scene. Hold on a second. Let me just do this. What I'd like to be able to do though is, I can on anyone's camera, I can click the switch button, and I can say switch this video with whoever. I'd like to be able to do that on the placeholders.
yeah.
And so I'd like to be able to move Ray from the middle here where he's hidden when I turn this on to one of these spots out here. But yes, if I lowered the number, then we wouldn't have this issue at all.
Well, and the real fix would be that any tile that's not shown because you've covered it up becomes immaterial. I mean, it's just like it's like no one there is really displayed because they're not.
Right. And again, this only becomes an issue if you're using the cutout. If you're not using the cutout, then everyone's visible and you can decide how many people you want to have on and they cycle through. But if you're doing this, weird cutout, if you're doing this weird cutout thing where you want your picture in the middle, this is, then there's a limitation of the program right now.
Yep.
But at least my NDI is better. Oh my goodness. All right. Robert's here. Hey, Robert.
Hey, good to see you. I'm glad to be here. I spent some time in the waiting room just watching you and listening to your avatar talking. It was really cool, Dave, really cool. And the only thing that I regret, and I'm going to ask if this as a feature request, that you can say, keep me in the waiting room until it cycles again. Because if we give instructions and then you let me in, I won't hear the instructions till the end. Yeah.
Or how about I can press the admit button, but they only actually come in after they've listened to all the instructions.
Oh, that's harsh.
Well, no. If I want them to hear my instructions, then
If there was a switch that you could switch that says only admit after they've seen the instructions. I mean, if it's just a piece of entertainment, it's kind of one thing to sort of help keep them at bay. But if you're going to have a crowd that needs to be instructed, then that would actually be a pretty cool option.
Yeah. Well, Ray's right there. Hi, Ray.
Good afternoon. Greetings from Central Florida.
Hey, Ivy won us something. Didn't
We
you
won
win
best.
something?
So nice of you to mention that. Somewhere there's a button. We run the best of show at Infocon this year, and that's a pretty big deal.
That's kind of
The-
amazing.
Yeah, in the AV category, we came in at best of show.
That is fantastic. Congratulations. That is really, really cool.
Pretty
And for
excited
those of
about
us
it.
like me who have no idea what your product is,
Sorry. Go ahead.
This is Ivy, and it's a standalone one-piece camera, a 4K Sony camera, high-res monitor here, and a patented glass, a stand. There's 4 near-field microphones built into the leading edge, which I'm talking on, and then there's a Harman Kardon sound system at the bottom. It's all one package, and it hooks up to your laptop or computer with one USB-C cable. And it's basically a 4K TV studio on your desk. And since I'm seeing you in the same frame that I'm looking, I have the advantage of actually talking at you, not worried about over here or looking at a picture of you or doing some of those things. This increases our engagement. I'm on an Ivy here. This is just NDI'd back to there because it's that's connected to a MacBook Air that is running that particular Ivy. Everything runs from the laptop, so it signs on to Zoom or Teams or what have you. It just replaces the other features that you've got in your accessories that you've got in your laptop.
it's a nice webcam.
Well, it's considerably more than a webcam because it actually allows you to have eye contact. Because I'm seeing you at the same time you're seeing me in the same screen. And so webcam, I still am looking over there. I can pretend to look at you, but I'm not. And over here, I don't pretend to see you. I see the nonverbal actions. It's a stress reliever on top of everything else. And it's very well received. It developed by a world famous eye surgeon back in COVID because he was doing lectures and he was tired of doing lectures to a webcam. So he came up with Ivy, and it's now a worldwide sensation. 2 of the fellow panel members, one of them has one, and one of them's got his hand up, and the other one is about to get his.
Amazing. Love it.
But thanks
That's very
for the
cool.
It is
Appreciate
very
it.
cool.
It's on
Speaking
sale
of-
now. It's the show special, $9.95 until midnight, the 30th of June.
There you go.
Thanks,
Speaking
Dave.
of someone who has one, Hasmuk, how you doing?
I'm okay. Yeah, I do have one. Well, one that was sent to me. Let's put it that way. Just coming back to tiles, that punch hole, once you've punched it, how do you get something into it? Is that based on creating a transparent PNG and putting in that like an overlay?
So the way I'm doing it, there are probably lots of different ways to do this, is you can see that I've got my video output device set to NDI. So then I have, this is on a separate computer over here to my left, is running tiles. I joined the meeting from there. It's sending NDI. And then over here on my computer, I have built a scene. And in this scene, I have 2 cameras. I've got camera A is me. And then this camera here is the tiles feed. So the tiles NDI feed. So the NDI feed is fills the screen. And then I just pop a camera of myself right in the middle. What I did with the ZTK, the hold screen here, I don't know if you'll be able to hear me. Can you all still hear me?
Yes.
Oh, good. So let me turn that off. Oh no. Oh God. Hold on. Wait, stop. Shush. Sorry. Is the same exact thing. I built a scene with the NDI feed underneath, and then I just put a little shade over it to mute it a little bit, and then I just put our logo in the middle. So that's same idea.
Yeah. So, I mean, Ecamm, you're using scenes, right?
Correct.
And in other apps like OBS or Mimo Live or anything else, what would you be using there?
Same.
Similar,
It's
same
Yeah,
approach.
you could use the same approach Hasmuth on MMO Live because I do that.
Okay,
Something similar. Absolutely.
Yep. You're just building a scene with overlays. That's all it is.
got you.
Yep. Absolutely. Speaking of overlays, I did just join with the Zoom graphics toolkit. So I've got the what do you call those? Chat coming up on my screen from Zoom graphics toolkit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, go.
On that point, the graphics toolkit that you have, is there any support for polls in there or not yet?
So yes, there is. So let me. I don't.
We just completed our medical event over the weekend, and the entire 6 hours or 8 hours a day, the conversation is around MCQ questions, which are driven by polls in Zoom. So it's quite an exercise to display the poll where you want it for the talent. So you have to grab the poll and make sure it's going to the display, let's say, for example, the teleprompter. So I thought maybe with this toolkit, you could it'd be consistently projecting to a display that you can switch to whenever the poll comes up.
Right.
Anyway, just a thought.
So let me open a poll here. So you can't. Actually, wait a second. Let me make that instance a co-host. I'm not sure that'll actually make a difference. Oh, it does. Okay, sorry. So if you make the graphics a co-host, then you get you can see all the polls that are available to you, and then you can presumably. Can I launch them from here? I don't think I can launch them from here. Co-hosts can't launch a poll, can they? I don't think so. So let me put. I will go ahead.
They can launch a poll usually.
You have to give permission.
Yeah.
They can't create the poll, but they can launch it.
Co-hosts can launch a
Yes.
poll. They just can't create one.
You know why? Hold on. Bear with me for a second. So I need to find. I don't know where it is. Sorry, I have too many. Show all windows. Well, that wasn't helpful. I need to find the actual Zoom window. Where is it? No, that's not it. I don't need that. That's my calendar. No, I don't want that. Oh, here it is. I guess this is it. Okay. Yes. Sorry. This is it. All right. So now this is my tiles. No, this is my, here it is. This is my graphics machine. So I can, okay. I can explain this now. Sorry, everyone. When you use Zoom Graphics Toolkit, you have the web interface, but you also are still in the meeting. You have the traditional meeting. So what I had to do was open up the poll from there. So I could launch a poll from here. And now, so you can see that it says in progress. And so these are the two questions over here. So if people can go ahead, I'll do a pie chart there, and I'll do this.
Sorry to interrupt. So the way we used it is obviously for the participant, the poll comes up and you submit and the poll disappears off your screen.
Right.
But the main poll where you are monitoring the responses is what we try to show the talent. Kind of see what percentage of folks have responded.
Correct. So for that, you have to look in the You have to look in the what do you call it? The Zoom window itself.
That'll come up both for host and co-host.
Right. But what this does is this allows you to create overlays that you can then put up on a screen or something like that. So let me,
Right.
I'm not entirely sure what's going to happen when I do this. So
Yeah.
I'm going to click show result. And it says showing results, but I don't see where
It'll come up on your Zoom machine, or should.
Well, no, because what I want is I want this. They did add in this latest beta a way to view this, but I don't see where that is. So you'll have to forgive me. Oh, wait a second. You know what it is? I know what it is. There it is. Sorry. Okay. Andy's going to be so proud that I figured this out on my own. So this is your graphics manager. You have to add a graphics, a new graphic. So I'm going to click on poll results, click next. So you can do unstyled base, center box. I'll just do a center box. So this is a poll results. No, I'll do it this way. I'll do ZTK because it's going to give you the output URL. Create. Please select a Zoom presets. Okay, I'll select that. Okay. So here we go. So now I can, just as I have with everything else, I can change the type of chart it is. I'll just leave it as this for now. And now what happens is I come over here, I grab the link, and now I'm going to add this to my production. And I'm going to say this is poll results. And I'll put the URL in there, fill entire frame, keep running, add widget overlay. And it didn't work. So this is actually a bug on Ecamm's side, I believe.
Go back in and edit the URL and take the HTTPS off of it.
I know that's the bug. So it defaults to HTTP. Nope, that didn't do it.
So he said, take the HTTPS off of it.
No, but
Back it all the way off. Take it off. Take it out. Take the phrase out.
The whole thing?
No.
So
no, it should be just the S. Should be just the S.
So
make it HTTP.
what's happening here? This is a bug. We've already submitted this. Is that Ecamm is defaulting? See how it keeps putting it back? It requires HTTPS, and so that's not a Zoom graphics thing. But in any case, this is. Oops, sorry. Now I have to take that off because you can't see anything. Where is it? No, I can't find it. Bear with me. I'm sorry.
You could place this browser window on any display you want to, if you want to cut it into the show.
Yes. So you could cut it into the show, or if you have big screens in front and you want to, this is just a graphical way. And again, you can make it look like whatever you want, but it's a graphical way to show your poll.
Just one last question, David. Did you need any sort of developer skills, or is this just straight out of the box?
No developer skills. I did it. We just did it together. No developer skills. I will say that there are a ton of settings. You know, this is not sort of it's not what I would call a WYSIWYG, interface where I could drag things and, I can't drag this and move it over there. You have to move the height and the width and change all of that. But if you take some time with it, it's pretty cool.
And if you know CSS styling, it's kind of easy to style your own too.
Right. That's a big if. If you know CSS. Let's see, I'm going to change this color because I don't like this color. So we're going to make that a brighter red.
Yeah, for me, throughout the day, the guy cutting the show had to keep moving the poll screen onto the talent prompter. And with limited attention capacity he had, it became a huge problem.
So what's nice about Zoom's graphic tool is that you get the output right here. So if you just click on that, it's going to give you exactly what you need, and then you just pop this on whatever screen you want, or you copy it to another computer. Even
That's exactly it.
Right. It's not working for me on mine only because I'm complicating things by bringing it into a switcher.
Sure.
But if you're just throwing this up on a screen, or you just even need a URL to embed, this is great.
That's really it's really cool.
Yep, it absolutely is. I wonder how I can get it to change to a bar chart. I'm not entirely sure because it's not changing. I don't know. In any case.
Probably one of the presets.
Oh, yeah, maybe. Settings, designer, yeah.
David,
Yes, sir.
Tony Mobley's joining us from YouTube today, and he's got a question for you. What should basic Zoom user know about tiles? I think he said titles, but I'm thinking he meant tiles.
Yeah. I mean, I'd love to hear what other people think. From where I sit, a basic Zoom user doesn't need to know anything about tiles. It's
I was
not
going to say it's an oxymoron, actually, right?
Yeah. It's an amazing tool. I would say personally, for three things. One is if you are doing a large production, you have a speaker, a presenter that is speaking to a large audience online, having multiple screens in front of them with a stylized view of the different galleries or the gallery is really, really wonderful. That's a great use of tiles. I would argue a second use of tiles is the same idea, but in an on-site event, and you want people to see themselves up on the screen. That's another great use of tiles. And the piece that interests me the most, because I don't do either of those two things, is what I did before, which is this sort of ability to create an experience for an online class, even a small class, where people can see themselves and feel like they're a part of the production just by doing something like this. So this is what I'm doing here is not what Tiles was intended for, but I think for small users like me, this is a kind of a cool option. But for normal Zoom people, I'm not sure that it's something you need. That's just my opinion.
David, again, you brought up a great use case, which is also, again, in your case and in Tony's case, of course, in the house of worship world. Definitely, this is how you bring in onto your confidence monitor so that your pastor or clergy will be able to see the people that are joining in Zoom so they feel like they're there. Also, you could also put those onto screens on either side of a corporate event or any other type of event, because that is the major usage of tiles, is to bring that hybrid into the local venue, right? And this is the best way to do that in an organized, non-gallery, blah looking, prettier looking look to it.
Yep.
And Robert's got his hand up. I think Robert's got use cases too.
Robert, can I just throw one quick thing, Robert? Because I just noticed something on the Zoom graphics dashboard, maybe a note to developers, that the reason I didn't remember about this new graphic thing over here that I had to do, is that I didn't think to click on graphics manager because of this little arrow here, right? This little arrow tells me that it's an accordion. It didn't dawn on me that that there's an actual graphics manager page here, right? So I was on this page or something like this, and I didn't think to click on this because I thought it would just accordion everything up, when in fact, it's its own page, which is the only place that the new graphic lives. So, sorry. Robert, what you got?
Now that you've seen it, David, you'll remember. I have one more use case for Zoom tiles. I use it when I hold very big meetings. And before the meeting starts, instead of just having a gallery view with lots of people there, I throw everyone and they are churning. So they're just changing. And the most amazing thing is that people sit there waiting for themselves. We are vain people. Yeah, our vanity requires or presses us to look for ourselves. And it's like at a bingo show, people are sitting there waiting for it. Bingo, yes, I'm there. Did you see me? I'm there. Hey. So that's really entertaining for big shows when you're trying to fill in some time at the beginning.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Go ahead, John.
Hi, welcome everybody.
Yeah, we forgot to do
a really big.
We didn't
Yeah,
get
we
all the
did.
welcomes. And sorry.
We didn't get all the rounds around, so never mind. As long as Muddy doesn't crash, we're all happy. This idea of bringing people into the environment, bringing them around, interacting with them is really big. I'm one of Philippe's group, and I've got apps now taking it to another level as well. It really does make a big difference. I'm starting to scare the living daylights out of my Toastmasters club, which we have an online speaking Toastmasters club that I'm part of. And you're all welcome to come anytime. But to be able to bring extra people on stage and do some of the production things without having to have a full production system is just another level. And it doesn't matter whether there's 10 people or 10,000 people. If you bring audience members on, I agree with Robert that when they see themselves, they go mad, but actually they go mad when they see other people, especially if you maybe set your tiles up so all your major directors or leaders or managers or whatever can be on the screen around, so that when people are doing presentations, you can see the bosses applauding them, etc. These little bits of feedback, like our amazing things that we can do through the Stream Deck, bringing up graphics now. It's a big difference, and the difference now between Zoom and those other packages is getting very big now, very big. In fact, I think they should just give up now and just get a rebadged version of Zoom. Be much easier.
I have to say, I was watching Stephen Colbert the other night, and he had someone from CNN on who was in Amman, Jordan, and this is so silly. I was so proud to see the, by Zoom little text up in the top corner, because usually it's Cisco or whatever it is. And I was so happy. And it was such a clear picture and the audio was perfect. And it was really nice. Let me just bring in, no, that did not work at all. Sorry. The kind of thing that Robert, that you were talking about, if I really quickly make a new scene and I just say that I want no, I don't want that. I want to change my camera, please. Hello? Why is it not letting me change my camera?
It's a pretty blue screen.
Yeah, this is weird though. So, let me try this again. Okay, get rid of that. Let's go back to this, please. No, go back to that. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to create a new scene. Good. Now I want to bring a camera over, put a camera overlay over that. Good. And I'd like to, oh, I know why. Sorry. I have a web widget overlay, and that was in the way. Okay. And now I'm going to make this my tiles display 2. So now if I wanted to, right, so now I can change the speed at which this is going. I can even make it fewer people. and I've got music playing or what have you, and now it's now it's a party, right? I mean, people can sort of see themselves and wait for themselves, as you said, to come up. I might even go to 4 people rather. No, not 3, 4. And then I can even speed it up. Where's the speed at which that you change this from? Whatever. You get. Oh, here's the speed. All right, I could have them move really. Duration. Tile added. Tile removed. Replace tile. So now that should be moving, unless I did it wrong. Oh, duration, gallery transition. So is it changing? Now it's not changing at all. What did I do? I just broke it. Overlays. Well, in any case, this would be sort of that other use, I guess. Ray, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no problem. I've got a client that is doing a 99.9% virtual thing in September. And she kind of sprung on me day before yesterday. Oh, and we might want to do sort of a live fireside chat thing with the CEO. And maybe have a few people there, or maybe not. Yeah, they're still trying to figure it out. And I sort of brought up the idea then of, well, if you're going to have that, and there's a potential in that event to have some VIPs. Some of them will be exhibitors for their event and so forth. Is it we could upscale that particular fireside chat thing with some Zoom tiles, and because their potential, I mean, they're going to, at last year's event they had 7,000 people, and so we're not going to have 7,000 people in meeting. Obviously, we're going to have people in a webinar, but we could sell tickets to their Zoom event for VIPs that could get into a meeting format during that fireside chat, and use Zoom tiles to basically pull them into the overall piece. Our issue then, of course, is how do we get the audio and video feeds into both the webinar and the meeting, which is, kind of just feeds and manage that. But she got real excited. Oh, we could have the VIPs and their picture. And I said, look, I've got a URL to a couple of examples that the guy whose team developed this, put together. And she was like all excited that they could have their CEO sort of in the middle and other people around the side, and then at the lead up basically have, as you were showing, just tiles of people who were VIPs. We would not get the average, Joe attendee, and they're real excited about that.
Yeah, very cool.
Ray, if I can just jump in there, just make them all panelists if you're in a webinar, and then you've got all the people that you need on screen.
That's a thought. It might be a large number, and we could probably do that. But that's something I hadn't thought of. Thanks, Robert.
The yellow scratch was because I had drawn something on my video pencil and I forgot to erase it fully.
David, can I have a request before we continue?
Yeah.
Do you want to finish your rounds? I can see some nice new faces here.
I'm so sorry. Okay. Speed round. Ready? Ray Franklin, we already said hello to you. No more pitching devices, by the way. No more sales pitches. Okay, folks? Peter Sargent, how you doing?
Doing great.
Well, see, that's how you get it done. John Drinkwater, how are you, sir?
Brilliant.
Beautiful. Fred, how's it going? Where are you, Fred?
Sorry, my spacebar is not working. I'm at home. That's just a picture of a mall somewhere I took. It's because it's got a nice American flag on it. I thought it was be something appropriate. I was asking about your minion in your wider shot there. You have a minion sitting over there?
Yeah, it's my guy.
It's your guy. Okay.
My guy. He's my Ecamm minion.
Okay.
Thanks. Hey, Jason, how are you?
Hello. Doing well, thanks.
Hello. Good to see you, sir. Hasbrook, we said hello to. Andy Lehman, how are you, sir?
I'm doing excellent for a Friday. Can't complain.
What is the 21 panelists up in there?
Just grabbing the count of people on the Zoom call.
But how are you doing that? Like what?
Isadora.
And then bringing that in through Ecamm?
Through Ecamm, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Cool. Yeah, Andy was playing with that. Isadora terrifies me. It's an amazing program.
Yeah.
But
now we can tell who's active speaking too.
Oh, wow. Look at that. And you just built this out in Isadora.
Yeah. Yeah. Just for the fun of it.
Is it using OSC also?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm joined via the call via OSC. So I'm grabbing all of the data via OSC and then formatting it in Isadora and bringing it in via NDI.
That's very cool. Very cool. Ray Harwood, how are you, sir?
Well, as I say occasionally these days, doing better every day. I'll take 10 seconds here and go. In September or in December, I mentioned going on this keto diet thing. It's been 6 months now. I've lost 35 pounds and my A1C has gone from 7 down to 6. And gotten out of 42-inch pants into 38-inch pants. So I'm doing good.
Wow. That's Ray. Congrats. That is amazing. What an inspiration. That is honestly fantastic.
It's been a journey, and as long as you kind of stick to the plan with this company called Verta that my healthcare provider is paying for, you can do it.
It's awesome. You're looking great.
Hang your old pants from the rafters, Ray.
Yeah.
I love it. Fantastic. Sherry Knight, how are you, Sherry?
I am amazed and learning a whole bunch of acronyms I've never heard before. So this is quite something.
It's so nice to have you here. Now, that is obviously a picture behind you because the water is not moving, yes?
It is. This is a picture. Yes, a painting.
Because it would have been very cool if you had strong enough internet to zoom in from Royal Caribbean.
Right, exactly.
That would have been something.
It's good to be here. Thank you for having me. And wow, there is an incredible amount of knowledge here.
Oh my God, these people are so smart. It's terrifying. Jan, how you doing?
I'm living the dream. I'm very much enjoying this. I'll be heading back to Thailand soon, and unfortunately, our time schedule will, when right now it would be like in the middle of the night, so I will not be able to be on the panel.
You'll be jumping on Alex live streams over there.
Yeah. You're doing this through Ecamm, right? Everything you do is through Ecamm.
Yeah.
Like when you put up the tiles, you do it all through Ecamm.
Yep. That's the backbone of everything. Absolutely. Muddy, how's the drive?
Oh, fantastic. Good to be here with you. I'm actually headed home. I was just up at our rental property at Lake Gaston, where I've been on Starlink for the past 2 years with pretty good results, but it was really the only option. And Spectrum just came to our neighborhood, and I just got fiber installed at the lake. So pretty excited about that. It's 10 times the speed and 50% of the cost. So can't beat that.
That's exciting. That's fantastic. By the way, if anyone's interested, last night on the rundown, we were talking about internet infrastructure and equity and access, because there are a lot of places that don't have fiber or any connectivity, actually. So that's wonderful. And you're not on the Tesla Zoom today.
I'm not on the Tesla. I'm back in my hybrid pickup truck.
Beautiful. All right, stop pressing the mute button and focus on the road. We're so glad that you're here. Roland is here. He had his camera on before. How you doing, Roland? Good to see you. Harshid is here. Good to see you. I think that is everyone. All right. So what have we got, folks? I mean, we could look at it's not really all that exciting. The new Zoom Docs export, but what else do people have? Questions, thoughts?
Jen has his hand raised.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
All right. So I took your advice the other day and going into
mistake, Jen.
Going into someone else's meeting other than my own with Ecamm, not using Zoom. And it kept saying this. The host said, "Jan, why do you want to stream our event?" And I'm saying, "Oh, I don't know how to shut that off. So can you help me with that? How do I use Ecamm without it giving the host saying, 'Hey, Jan wants to record this'?"
Right. So, okay. So Zoom has two different protocols. I think protocols would be the right word for capturing audio and video from a meeting. One is recording and the other is live streaming. So in Ecamm or Zoom ISO or any of these, or Mimo Live, or any of these tools that are grabbing a Zoom feed, video feed or audio feed out of Zoom, it's going to need to use one of those two protocols. And both of those protocols have some sort of announcement to your meeting for privacy that this is about to happen. So if you are, I believe, if you are recording, is that still an audible message?
It is, but you can turn it off in your settings as an admin.
Okay. Yeah. So, but either way, you're going to get something at the top that says this meeting is being live streamed. Or if you're the host, if you are not the host and you're joining a meeting, the host is going to get a request saying, "Hey, this person wants to live stream," or "This person is requesting to local record." So, what you probably have done is you have probably set up in your Ecamm settings, you've probably set up auto request. So, for example, over here, I'm in my Ecamm settings. Generally speaking, if I go into a meeting and I don't add a camera or I don't add any audio, then it won't ask. If I manually say, if I were in this meeting with Ecamm, you would see all the different people down here. If I clicked add on their name, then the host would get a request. But what you probably have set is right over here in your settings, auto add Zoom participants as Ecamm camera sources. If you have that set to always, then my understanding is that anytime you join a meeting, it will automatically request either whatever you have set, which is right here, the Zoom capture mode that you have set, either live streaming or recording. It'll automatically request that. That's my understanding. Muddy,
that's correct, David.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a useful distinction between joining a Zoom meeting through the regular client and using Ecamm as your virtual camera, and then joining Zoom through Ecamm, Zoom for Ecamm. And what happens when you do that is really there's two parts to that. One is the way you show up in the meeting, and that doesn't require any special permission, even when you're joining through Ecamm. But the kind of special powers that Zoom for Ecamm allows you to do is to bring in other participants as cameras, as camera sources into your Ecamm scenes. So you could create an Ecamm scene that has multiple Zoom participants in it. In order to do that, exactly what David is saying, in order to do that, you need to pull those audio and video feeds into Ecamm using either the live stream or the recording protocol. I like that terminology. And so you can join Zoom, you can join a Zoom meeting through Ecamm as long as you don't try to pull in those other and turn off that automatic setting that David said. As long as you're not trying to pull in someone else as a video feed, you can still show up in that meeting without those special permissions. So that's an important distinction. When you bring in those other video sources, you're using Zoom for Ecamm as a contribution source, essentially, to bring those sources into Ecamm. And really, the use case for that is to use Zoom for Ecamm as a backend to pull in those video sources into Ecamm as your production space, and then sending that feed out through a different source, through a live stream, for instance. And so that's the primary use case for that, is where you're using Zoom essentially for contribution as the back end, but then sending that signal somewhere else. It's not common that you would bring in those video sources into your eCam and then send that back into the same meeting. Hopefully that makes sense.
Makes perfect sense. So in other words, in the settings, as I look at it, so then I would have auto add Zoom participant as eCam source set to never.
I always have mine set to that, yes.
And then, but if I'm doing my own meeting, then I need to change that.
No. If you're doing your own meeting and you want to grab people's video and audio and bring them into eCam, the only reason you need that on is if you want to, as Muddy said, bring people in as contributors. And if you want to bring them in as contributors, there are two ways to do that. You can auto add them, which I would not recommend having on, or they will all populate. You'll see little images of everybody who's in your Zoom meeting in your Zoom panel over an eCam, and you can just click the add button, and that's how I do it. So, I have a show I do every Thursday night, and I have 4 or 5 people come in, and as they join my meeting, I just click add, I assign them to the camera slot, and that's it. I would not auto add people. Fred, you want to jump in?
I just had a different question about what is that cool cursor program that you're using? My cursors these days, I'm losing it a lot of the time, and I love your cursor program. But you're on a Mac, so I'm assuming that it's not a Windows program.
No, sorry. It's a Mac. Yeah, this is just it's called, what is it called? Cursor Pro, I think. Hold on. I actually have a couple that I use.
Yeah, it's Cursor Pro.
Yeah,
Cursor Pro. I used it having learned from David. So I use that in my production as well.
Yeah, this is Cursor Pro, and I have a hotkey which will turn it on or off. Command M for me, and then if I hold Command, it'll actually zoom. Ooh, look at that.
That's what I liked about it, is that you've got that magnifying glass thing set up. That's really cool.
Yeah, so for me, if I just hold down the control key, it will zoom. It'll zoom in, which is nice. I also have this other thing. I don't even know. Oh yeah, there's another one that I use. I have no idea what it's called. Oh, here it is. It's called Screen Brush. No, Screen Brush. And what's nice about Screen Brush is that you can, if you just have it activated, you can like point to things like that. You can change the color. What else can I do? I don't even know what else. Oh, you can draw squares and circles. You can put text in. So just a couple different tools to use.
Very cool. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. What else? SPX plugin has a remote graphics feature that is new. Jason.
Pretty cool.
What is that? Can you show it to us?
Yeah. So basically what it looks like, and this is about a month-ish old. So we're still experimenting with it to make sure we understand fully how it works. But here's the idea, and this is where you're going to go, oh, wow, that's cool. I could really use one of these. So the SPX graphics plugin for Zoom allows you to do lower thirds and things like that on your machine. Okay, that's great. But now if you're the host and you're dealing with speakers or presenters that are knowledge experts but know nothing about the technology, don't want to spend an hour downloading plugins and tweaking their machine and learning where buttons is, they just want to show up and talk, then within Zoom, using this plugin, as you see here on the screen, I can trigger code that will display lower thirds through their webcam. On their webcam feed, they have to do nothing. And so I'm controlling it from the control room. I could put up a lower third with their name. I could, scroll information across the bottom, maybe their website or whatever, and then take it down when I don't want to display that. So what I'm showing you here on the screen is the knowledge base that you'll find there on the web page. It gives you an idea of how it works. On the right-hand side, you see the plugin panel that's within Zoom. And down in the bottom, underneath the base layers, as an additional layer, is now that's where they've put the remote graphics receiver. If you were playing with it in beta, the location's in a different place now in production. So here's where it is. It's one of the additional layers.
And then, Jason, can you just explain if you wanted to throw a lower third onto my screen or to my camera feed, what permissions do I need to give you?
All you have to do is, one, you have the XPS plugin in your Zoom. So when you open up Zoom, SPX is sitting there listening. And then two, I give you a remote ID to plug in a number so that it's listening. You know, what channel do you want me to listen to? So I give you that number, you plug it in there, copy and paste is fine, you know, so I send it to an email or, you know, put it in the chat window or something idiot proof like that. And then your SPS plugin is listening to my channel, whatever commands I'm sending it.
Okay, so there's no other control you get over my computer other than sending those text messages or the graphics from SPX to my instance of SPX. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah, the app talks to the app, so you don't have any security or data leaks or anything like that. As you know, in Zoom, there are other permissions that you can enable within the Zoom program proper, and then of course every app and plugin, read the privacy statements to see how they share the data and things like that. But like, and I'm a big privacy person. There are a lot of apps that I've tested and I'm not happy with the way that they share data. You don't get something for nothing, right? So if they're giving you something, then what's the product or service that they're selling? It's probably your information. So yeah, I like this setup because it meets the privacy features. It does what it says it will do. It does it pretty easy and straightforward. And I don't have to add a bunch of software or outboard equipment onto my machine. I can do this from a laptop. So I think it's pretty cool.
Ray is asking, how do you get SPX to overlay the camera feed locally?
So essentially what happens is SPX is listening to the commands that I send it, and then when I hit the buttons, then it just magically appears on the other person's side. So like I could show you on. So I could show you what it would look like on my side. So for example, if I did an overlay like this, a title block for me, okay, but now I could do the same thing on someone else's machine. I don't have anyone else that's got the plug-in and the remote here during this meeting to demonstrate it, but that's essentially what it would look like.
Is it not, because I've got SPX installed, is it not in the regular build?
Depending upon what version you have, it may be part of the regular build, or we may just have to tick it as an add-on for it to open up that remote graphics receiver.
All right, so it's now downloading the utility. It wasn't on this account, so it's by the way, I got a pop-up as I was installing this. Good news, Zoom. The Pro plan now unlocks all features, store items, go to the store level. Oh, that must be an SPX thing. Okay. Sorry. All right, so I am here in SPX and
let me stop sharing and I can see your screen.
So how does this work?
I think you're still sharing, Jason.
Yeah, let's see. Where'd my stop sharing button there? There it is. Sorry, lost the button in all of it.
Seems to be stuck on loading. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it seems to be stuck on something.
Oh, there we go.
Okay. So scroll down the additional layers. We're underneath where it says you are muted. Is there anything else, or that's the end of the panel?
That's the end of the panel. I can add something.
Okay, don't just yet. So close out that, and then on the top right, the orange button that says store.
Mm-hmm.
If you scroll down, it'll say something like graphics receiver, and it's free.
Okay. Remote graphics receiver.
That's the one.
Free.
Yep. And so that will install it as part of the plugin. You'll just have to refresh the app, and then you'll have that ability that's in there.
All right, let's see here. So email address, okay. And continue. Nothing to pay. Checkout. Okay. I can close this tab. Okay, very good. So now I come back up here and presumably I'm going to refresh app. All right. Aha. All right. So now I see remote graphics receiver with a connection ID.
Right. Yep. And looks like the toggle switch is on. Yeah.
Yep.
It's green. Okay. And expand that window.
Expand this
Does
window.
does it allow? There it is. Let me see if I can magnify so I can see what you got going on there.
So you need
to. Yeah,
give
cool.
me...
So then all I have to do is just give you an address, and then it can start working.
All right.
I wonder if we keep it this default one, if it'll listen.
So Jason.
Yes.
Your early on statement of like if you're going to have a presenter and you don't want them to do bells and whistles and touch dials and do stuff, all of the stuff Dave has done would have to be done by someone, correct?
Yeah, that's a good call, Ray.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I mean, you're adding an app from the Zoom store.
Yeah. What's the remote ID that you have?
Oh, sorry. Let me get back over that screen.
And is this something that you can set up ahead of time and the IDs will stay the same, or does this need to kind of be updated at the beginning of the meeting?
Still playing around with that to see how sticky it is, because like on a recurring meeting, I would obviously want to keep the graphics in place and have the remote person listening to that channel. But for one-off events, obviously, then I would not want it to look at my recurring event. I'd want it to go somewhere else and pull those graphics. So we're still playing with that one.
So what's your code?
Yeah, thinking about the use case that Ray said of meeting with the host or meeting with one of the speakers ahead of time, doing a little tech check, helping them get this set up. But then when it comes time for the actual event, they're ready to go and don't have to kind of fiddle with it then.
Right, which you're doing a tech check anyway, or at least I hope you would be doing a tech check with your people. So that part of the process isn't different.
All right, so I put the code in.
Okay.
I clicked save and play, I guess. So I'm going to turn this off.
Okay. So let me see if it's.
I don't know if you're able to share your screen so we can see what you're doing. Bye, Sherry. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
So while he's doing that, I'll just very quickly show you all that the big announcement from Zoom Docs is that now, if you go into a Zoom doc and you go up to the three dots, there is now an export option, which is pretty darn exciting if you ask me. Wait, I don't have my thingy dingy. Cursor Pro, there we go. So it's right over here. Export, and then you can export into Word, PDF, or Markdown. So I'm going to do Word. I don't actually have Word on my computer, but let's just see what that came down as. Zoom, here it is. Zoom test docs test. Yeah. There you go. So Export is a doc XS. Excuse me, a doc X. And PDF also. Let's just see what that guy looks like. So this is pretty nice. I mean, it's just a sort of an important fundamental feature, I think. Here's the PDF version. Great. Done. So that's that. Anything to show us?
I'm not getting it to pop up on your side. I'm looking. There must be a button that I'm missing somewhere.
Or I did it wrong. That's entirely possible also. There's nothing in settings. Well, we'll keep working on this. What else do we have, folks? What else is going on in our Zoom worlds? Hey, Robert, go for it.
I got a question. Maybe you or Hasmuk or anyone else who uses the VLM audio meters. My audio meters are hanging, and I can't figure out what's been happening recently. And it started ever since I updated my Mac to Sequela. So, not Sequela, Sequoia, that's the name. And I've noticed yours are hanging too.
I just noticed that also.
Yeah. And mine's doing the same thing. And I just was looking, and Loopback had an update, and Hijack had an update, Audio Hijack, and everything had an update, and I've updated everything, and it's still hanging. Any ideas?
This has been a consistent issue for me. So what I have to do each time, honestly, is see, look at that. Even now it's not working. So
it hangs after literally 5 seconds, so it's unusable.
So mine is actually working now, but I have to, it's not just that, I have to now change the, oh no, see, it's not anymore. It's not only that, but the overlay, the screen share that I have that's showing this is now not showing the right one. It's I don't, it's ridiculous. Let me, so what I have to do is I have to delete this, do a new screen share.
How are you accessing that wave meter? Are you using the wave software or are you using Audio Hijack?
So so I'm using Audio Hijack with the Waves plugin. If I were using Ecamm, I wouldn't even have this open because Ecamm has it built in. You can use Waves plugins right in Ecamm. But because I'm using the vanilla Zoom, I'm doing it this way. I should show you all what I'm doing. Sorry. So I just had to just kind of refresh this. To see, it's not, look at that. It froze again. That's so frustrating.
So if I can jump in.
Well, you're the master. I mean, this is the OG of meters here.
Oh God. Yeah. So to answer Jan's question is we use Audio Hijack and Mimo Live. So in Mimo Live, we do screen capture and not window capture. If you use window capture, there's quite a bit of latency in the meter's response in a meeting. Now, for the past year, I have delegated the task of bringing in the meters in office hours to my audio engineer. And every day I see Mickey sending him a ping that the meters have hung.
Really?
Every time I bring in the meters, it never hangs. Okay. So the trick is to make sure that when you leave the computer, that the plugin window for WLM, the window is active. If your mouse cursor is anywhere else, then if the window is not active, the meters tend to freeze.
So for this example, Hasmuk, sorry.
Yeah.
That actually explains a tremendous amount. So on this computer that I've been so I have two things running on this computer. I've got the meters and I've got tiles. So what is probably happening is I'm hopping over here, playing with tiles, making that the active window, then coming back to the meeting, forgetting about it and the meters and not switching back to the meters. Wow. Wow.
Simple.
Oh my goodness. Is there a way to automatically force an app to be
I've tried every trick in the book. So I have a dedicated machine that brings the meters into office hours. And once the cursor's on the window of the WLM plugin, there's no need to move that cursor. But my audio engineer doesn't understand that basic, what I call rookie process. So I know that the meters have frozen when in Discord I see this ping from either Mickey or somebody else, and they've almost developed a dramatic protocol. So they keep using many different GIFs to get attention and to say thank you. So it's amusing from that point of view. But otherwise, it's damn frustrating.
You know, I called at BLM, I called that focus, because the teachers would go do something on their laptop and then their clicker didn't work anymore. As soon as they put the clicker back to the PowerPoint, the clicker would work fine. So I wrote up a thing and I called it focus. You have to be focused to the app that you're working with in order for the clicker to work on that app. Same thing, I guess, on the meters.
That explains a lot from an HR point of view, my audio engineer.
Now, Fred, could you use the Waves engine, run the WF, the meter through the Waves engine, and then capture the Waves engine instead of using it direct?
I don't know about Waves. I don't have it. I'm just saying.
What do you mean, Jan?
If it's in a window, you have to have that window be active. That's all it is. Whatever window you have the Waves meter in has to be the active window or the focused window in my term.
Well, that's because you're not using the Waves engine. You're using the Waves meter, but you're not using the Waves engine. If you use the Waves engine, I haven't done it myself because I stopped using it. But if you use the Waves engine, I'm sure it would stay live all the time. And then if you capture the Waves engine window, and then input it, then it might work that way. I don't know.
Yeah, Jan, the problem is that if whatever you're capturing, whether it's Mimo Live or OBS, the results are the same. So if you're using within OBS or Mimo window capture, immediately a latency issue kicks in. So when they test the meters, these meters are not as responsive. So what we've resorted to is to do a screen capture and not a window capture. So your solution won't work because the window has to be active at all times.
Now, if you had a dedicated computer that you just ran meters on and just never touched that computer once you launch it, you'd never have a problem.
That's exactly what we do. And I have no idea why my audio engineer keeps touching that computer.
But if I can just jump in here, I have a dedicated machine to this, and it makes no difference whether I have my cursor over the plugin window or not. It just hangs after a couple of seconds, literally, as you can see on the screen now. Now it's actually hung completely. I don't know what's going on.
And you have no other programs running.
I have loopback, audio hijack, and it's running through OBS. And that's it. That machine does nothing else.
And you're doing a window.
Is OBS on that machine?
Yes.
See, I do something similar, except I just capture it's full screen. It goes to HDMI. It gets captured on another machine. I don't. The only thing really running on that machine is that necessary to run the Waves plugin. That's it. And I see Fred nodding his head at the same
Yeah,
time.
but that's really forgive me, but I mean, I, we need to be able to run more than one program at a time, for goodness sakes.
You know,
I mean, you can run one at a time, but you're asking the Waves thing to. Maybe it's got some sort of a timeout or something. Maybe you have to take that up with Waves. I don't know, but I would think you're correct, David. If it's a live video feed and it's running, it shouldn't hang up. But obviously, there's some sort of a timeout thing, and when you lose focus, again, it was just like with my clickers. As soon as you change the focus to one of the other applications running, or even just a different, what do you call it, a tab, right? You have multiple tabs open. You change to another tab. You now have focused to something else. The clicker didn't work anymore.
Right, so mine's hung again. It looks like, yeah, mine is hung again, and it is. I have not touched it. It has been front and center. It's the
David,
active.
question for you on that. Does your mouse time out?
I don't know.
And I know that sounds weird to ask, but again, because you're not on that machine anymore, could it be that the Waves plugin is actually looking for slight movement of your mouse over top of the Waves every so often?
So now I have to
call.
And the question I have for Fred is that, again, this Wave plugin that everybody's using is not meant for what we're using it for. It is made for, DAWs, which is digital audio,
Which
if
you're
running
constantly
Pro Tools.
moving your mouse around.
Yeah.
Right. So it never will ever time out if you're in a Pro Tools or any sort of DAW that you're using this plugin for all the time.
Right.
So Waves would never know, right? Yeah. So as far as it's concerned, it's going to use less resources if you're not going to use it right now.
Yeah.
Correct.
And that might be built in as a feature.
And like I said, I think Hasmuth was kind of saying this is what I found. It's perfect use for an older Mac Mini.
Let me just jump in here because I've been using this plugin for around 2 years, and this problem has never occurred. It started about 3 months ago when I upgraded to Sequoia.
Well, there's your problem. You planned obsolescence. Thank you, everybody.
I think, Robert, you spot on. With earlier versions of Mac OS, we didn't have this problem.
Right.
In fact, it very well could be that the Waves plugin itself might not run properly on this version of the OS.
Yeah,
or there's that feature that's in there that's kicking it out. Go ahead.
In fact, we were using Windows capture rather than screen capture. And then when a latency issue occurred, then we noticed the same issue if the screen capture window was not active at the same time.
Okay. Any other suggestions?
I'm trying to bring my meters in if somebody will let me in remotely. Oh, I am in. Okay.
Yeah, you're in. Check 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so now my meters are working. And let's see, they are active, and I'm going to leave my mouse over it. Let's see if they work. I'm not actually. Are they? I don't know. There's something going on here.
Just stopped.
Yeah, they're dead.
As soon as whatever your last thing that you just did there,
I
stopped.
literally didn't do anything. I'm literally just sitting here staring at them.
Move your mouse over top of that screen again, David. Oh, interesting.
And not just move your mouse over, but click on the window to activate it.
Clicking everywhere.
Wow.
Yeah, it might be that there was some sort of update that happened operating system wise that
It's still
Okay.
now it's still working on like you can still see the audio coming through in the meters. You know, the eCam is sending it to WLM meters, and then somehow over here it's not. Yeah.
Oh, so David, what do you have to do to actually get it working again? Do you have to actually close it and reopen
Yeah.
it?
What I've been doing is quit,
So it's like it's freezing.
restart, but then it kind of works again. So now it's working again. Check 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, now
No.
it's working again, and now
Yeah,
it's stopped.
it just froze again.
Yeah.
I found something. I just rebooted my machine, and they came up. The meters came up, but as soon as I switched the OBS virtual camera on, they froze. It's something to do with the virtual camera in the new version of Mac OS is different. It behaves differently.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems as if that this is the area that's causing the problem. I don't know how it works, but
Look at my beautiful meters.
Oh, you know what?
Like
No, it just explain. Tell us the workflow. You've got a dedicated machine running WLM. How are you joining the machine? The meeting from what? From Mimo?
From Mimo. No. I joined the meeting. The only thing Mimo does the screen capture. So I'm using vanilla Zoom client to join the meeting, and my camera is Mimo Live.
Okay.
But now my cursor is not on the meters because I brought it in through a remote. And obviously on my meters machine, my cursor is not active on the screen itself. So what I've experienced at times when I close my window, the VNC window, the meters keep chugging along. At times it freezes, then I have to connect again and make that window active. So I'll leave it on. And I've just closed off my remote connection. And the meters are still working.
what OS are you running, Hasmuk?
The same as you. Oh, no, let me check. I'm open to correction. I'll just connect again and let you know.
So I'm going to try and come in.
So you could, I would be willing to bet you could even do this with one of those little wallet-sized Windows computers, that just, you don't need to spend the money on a Mac Mini. I'm sure you could do that. So it's one of those little $200 wallet-sized things. Just runs Windows and run one program and take the HDMI out and call it a day.
Robert, I'm on Monterey.
See, I think this is where the difference is because you're on Monterey. I'm not. I upgraded on this machine, and that's when the problems started. So I'm going to look there, and it's definitely something to do with the virtual camera because once I switch the virtual camera off on OBS, the meters start running again. The plugin meters start working again. When I switch it on, the plugin just hangs.
It's the lovely planned obsolescence. I think Jason was talking about this with Windows drivers, what, about a month or two ago? You were talking about how your microphones would just turn on and off randomly. Yeah, all this wonderful upgrades we all have to go through. And it just breaks things.
And there's more Windows 11 stuff that happened yesterday. We'll talk about that later, though.
And knowing David is on all of the latest versions of everything, so he's probably in the same situation as me.
It's like a disease. Yeah, this is so
Robert. Sorry, Robert. What I'll do is run the meters from the latest rev of the Mac OS and see how it behaves. I'll give you feedback.
Okay, just don't upgrade this machine.
No. I just got to upgrade the audio engineer.
Yeah, because the downgrading is really, really cumbersome. I'm going to try the NDI solution that was suggested by was it Ian or Pete? I can't remember.
Yeah, question from YouTube actually. Has anyone tried from JC Does Voiceover? Hello, JC from Does Voiceover from YouTube. He's asking, has anybody ever tried Ulean Loudness Meter 2? And I put a link on that in the YouTube chat. And I'll actually put a link of that in our chat, our Zoom chat as well.
I did start using Ulean, but then I got jealous of Hasmuk, and so I started using what he used.
It's an office hours standard. It's not jealous of me. But Ulean was used initially in office hours as well. Quite a few people used it. And the overall consensus was that they would settle on the WLM meters.
In Robert's Zoom meeting yesterday, I found out about something for Dante called massive meters. Robert's using it, and it shows you all of the Dante paths and the audio in Dante. So if any of you are in the Dante world, massive meters, look it up. It's pretty cool.
This meters machine is available for anyone outside of our office hours if you want to bring in our meters.
And Fred, to your point, I mean, the Mac Mini I'm using it on is a 7-year-old Intel Mac Mini. That, I mean, it's either that or send it to the scrap heap, and it works just fine. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You haven't upgraded it. No
I
planned
I haven't upgraded. I'm just using the HDMI output and sending it off to somewhere else.
My only dark side device that still works today, I brought it home from the Apple Store, is an iPod, because they don't upgrade.
Right.
I just had to retire my iPad Mini. I just had it retired. It no longer will upgrade. I can't get YouTube on it. But I hate to say this because I'm afraid that I'm not going to follow through. But I am a Waves dealer, and I do have access to Waves tech support. So I made a note that I will try to call them and see if I can get an answer for you guys.
What's his name?
But no promises.
What's his name? The Waves guy that had the Zoom deal during COVID. Great guy. I can't remember his name. Bald head. Do you remember, Jan?
I don't know.
You're muted.
So this is.
I'm looking to see if I have a note on it.
So this is a different meter. This is peak RMS, and I mean it's vertical instead of horizontal. I don't know if that matters. I don't know if it's maybe it's.
That's the built-in meter.
This is no. This is in.
It's not part of audio hijack.
Correct. Sorry. Right.
As opposed to WLM, which is a plugin.
Right. This is really annoying that it keeps. Oh, go back. All right, stay there. So now
I think it's showing peaks rather than luffs. I guess that's the important part in office hours when they check meters.
Oh, okay.
Mickey focuses on the luffs.
Gotcha. And so now it's working again. Let's see. I did reboot, so I don't know if that will make a difference, but we'll see. Audio hijack. Pin that puppy right there.
Oh, now that we're all quiet, there we go. We need some audio going on there. So to make sure that we see if it freezes or not.
Yeah, sorry.
Hey, Dave, while we're looking at the meters, next week is the 4th of July. Are you going to have this meeting on the 4th?
I'll be here. I don't know about the rest of you.
Yeah, I'll be here.
Well,
Oh,
if I can make it, I will see you guys. Have a great week, everybody.
all right. Take care.
Hi, Jan.
This is so frustrating. There's something going on here. I don't know. Copy of it. Copied it. Err.
Well, that's what this is all about. Figuring this stuff out.
Better to do it now than 5 minutes before you're broadcasting.
That's right.
All right.
I'm
There we
sure.
go.
I'm sure the clients that you deal with, Fred, would not be pleased.
I wouldn't be pleased. I need to know this stuff well in advance.
All right. So I restarted. I've got it up. Let's see what happens. It seems to be working now. I don't know why.
And it's matching the meters in my office. So the LUFs are more or less in sync.
Yeah, even everything looks more in sync on my
Yeah.
whatever multi-screen on my left-hand side here.
Oops.
Oh my goodness. That was exhausting. Massive meter. Mike, is that what you were talking about?
Fred was actually talking about that. Is that
That's
the
what
right
I was
one, Fred?
talking about. That's the one I was talking about. It's in the it looks at the Dante streams and lets you see the audio on the Dante streams if you're a Dante person.
Nice.
Notice mine have frozen.
We were talking about, because he just got done doing Kenny Chesney at the Sphere, we were talking about how they push audio around the Sphere, and it's 64 channels of Dante that get converted to, and so there's like 3 different flavors of digital audio in the Sphere, and it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, their system is massive. Massive to say the least. And, well, it's a massive building as it is. All right. So everyone on YouTube, you guys have been awful quiet. JC's been saying things. Hello, Lois. Thanks for joining us on YouTube. And it sounds like Lois will be here next week, so that's great. We'll hoping to see you. What else we're talking about? I know Jason. I know you and I could probably get into 4484 and to see how many things broke there. I know that would be a quick turnaround on that one.
No comment on that one yet.
Is that good or bad on the no comment?
No comment. We are not done slogging through the mud on that one yet.
Yeah.
Did you figure out your mic unmuting thing?
Yes, I sure did. It was wow, what a mess it was. And quite honestly, a lot of times it was chasing my tail because you had drivers from the manufacturer, you had Windows drivers, you had and then you had patches from Microsoft. So when Microsoft had pushed the 24H2, they had changed some of the APIs for audio and added in these enhancements. Well, that broke a bunch of things. So for 6 months, they've been pushing updates, and you'll hear reports in the wild of like, HP users will say, oh, mine works now. And the Dell users will say, mine not yet. Or the Asus will say, well, mine does if it's got this configuration, but not that configuration. So all that has cycled through. And then once that got to a point, then it was, okay, now which combination of manufacturer drivers are going to work? So yeah, we're fixed. We know what the issue is. And so now we're rolling it down to our production machines, which we had to delay that because they were still on 23H, whatever the number was on that one. And it was constantly, we don't know if we can pause it any longer. And you're going in there and you're doing different tricks to keep auto update at bay. So yeah, if anyone out there is still dealing with it, drop a comment there and we'll help you out with it. But the documentation has finally started to get up to date too, because that was the other thing. If you're following the Microsoft forums, they went silent once they got caught with their pants down and people started talking class action lawsuits because microphones randomly opening up in law offices and medical offices and et cetera, et cetera. Microsoft went quiet, not a peep out of them until magically they started pushing out updates.
Yeah, and the one key feature that I found out today, just before the meeting, because I haven't actually run into myself, even though I do have a couple of test machines that are running 4484, is that Microsoft has gotten rid of the blue screen of death. It is now officially a black screen. So they have now officially retired the infamous everybody making fun of blue screen of death.
Should have made it orange or something else. Just black is like the monitor's off.
Yeah, it's still going to have some text on it that there was a problem, but it won't be as bad as the blue screen of death, which, unless you actually have a science degree and belong to Microsoft themselves, you have most of the time have no clue what the panic information was on the screen. And by the way, it's going to be up there for 30 seconds and you better write it down quick, because if you don't, the machine's going to reboot.
What I like about them making it black, at least the acronym still stays the same. Whether it's blue screen of death or black screen of death, the acronym is still the same.
Yeah, because eventually you will see a black screen.
They should have made it brown, because that's...
Should have made it brown is right.
Because that's pretty much how all the users are feeling anyway.
Yeah, because a few seconds after you see that, in this case, black screen, which should be brown. Yeah. Officially, we're going to see a black. Officially, we're going to see a black screen again, because what's happening?
I am right here and now trademarking the brown screen of death. I'm going on mute now. I'm just going to tell myself some more jokes.
Yeah, the brown screen of death is cool. But yeah, absolutely. So yes, as I was saying, yeah. So again, if you did see whatever color it is, preferably we like the brown screen part. But once you see the brown screen, what's going to be seeing again is the black one, which is the BIOS going to be booting up again. So it's a little more. So the blue screen of death, because they know they've been picked on for eons because of the infamous blue screen of death, disappeared as of 4484. And when I'm saying that, it is 26100 dot. Jason, did I do that right? I think they're still on the 2611.4484, I think is the latest one. I will double check that.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm still troubleshooting some SPX stuff here too. It's so new, their documentation isn't in place. It's not a blank page, but it has placeholders in there. So
right. Yeah, I'm actually on it, and I can confirm that it is. So the latest version, which is 24H2 of Windows 11, not 23H2, 24H2, is 26100.4484, and that's the one that I'm talking about. That no longer Windows blue screen of death no longer exists, amongst other wonderful things too, and of course, all kinds of wonderful Copilot things are now being added in 4484 as well. But David is back. Back to you, Mr. Paskin.
No, it doesn't have to be back to me. It's back to us.
Back to us.
It's just us.
And how's the levels doing? You're leveled, and it's leveling well.
Yeah, mine are still working for some reason. I don't know why, but they are. Now that I've said something, they're going to stop.
All right, so I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do.
Oh, we're going to compare them?
Oh, yeah, hold on. Yeah, I'm gonna.
We're gonna
yeah,
have 3 sets going.
There we go. They're all going to talk to each other.
There we go. Do 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 do.
Not bad, actually.
Robert, you got yours ready or no? And I'll spotlight that too.
No, mine's hanging, constantly hanging.
All right. Again, we're just showing this. Again, it's better for me to spotlight for YouTube so that everybody can see what's going on.
Sure. That's nice that it's working, though.
This is like the atomic clock of audio. Hasmut, you've got the atomic clock of audio.
It's a close. There is actually, if you really want to make sure that everything is in time sync, and I need Fred here officially, PTP.
PTP, baby.
That's it. No, not NTP. PTP. Are they close? Yes.
Sort of.
NDI will at least like NTP, but NDI prefers, and so does Dante, PTP.
Especially if you're going to try to put it over the public internet.
Especially if you're going to put it over the public internet. Absolutely. So if you definitely want all your audio and video in sync when it comes to NDI, Dante, AES 60, Fred, help me, 67?
67, yep.
Okay, good. Yeah, all right. I'm remembering all the acronyms here now. And if you're doing 2110, they definitely are going to be looking at PTP as well. So a PTP clock, as you'll hear, is definitely the best to make sure that your network devices are all in sync. And if they're all in sync, then there shouldn't be any latency issues. Well, let me rephrase that. Not latency issues.
No.
Yeah, I know. The wrong word. There shouldn't be any dropped frames or dropped packets. It should be a lot less. Did I do that right, Fred?
Yes.
That was the better one. Yes. Latency, there still might be latency. And you have to still modify the network or modify the equipment accordingly. My Dante hat was coming out there, Fred. I'm trying.
Until we all stop this never twice the same color mode that we're in the United States. Actually, that's probably dead now, isn't it? NTSC.
Yeah. If we're talking about NTSC is sort of dead, it's ATSC now, if that's what you're talking about in the HD world. But yeah, the NTSC standard of still frame rates and everything is still there, but it's not talked about as much more because, again, that was more when you're doing the infamous bringing everything over antenna, which you can still do, by the way. But that technology is now moved on to ATSC for anything HD.
So you're catching up with Bell now.
We're catching up with who, Hasmuk?
PAL.
PAL
system. The PAL system, you have no control. You turn your TV on, you turn your volume up and down, you change the channels, you turn it off. That's it. No color, no tint, no brightness, none of that silly planned obsolescence.
Yeah.
Dave, can I change the subject for a second? Just go back to Zoom for a second, David. You know, when I was telling you that I really enjoyed the waiting room with your little talk, I observed a very strange thing when it comes to audio. I had selected my headsets as my Zoom audio headsets, but my Mac default audio output was set to one of my monitor speakers. And your voice was coming out through the monitor speaker and not through my headsets. So that's
because you weren't in the meeting yet, you think?
Well, I could test. Maybe it wasn't in the meeting, but I get it. I get to test the headsets and the audio.
Well, what I mean is because you weren't in the meeting yet, and so the audio in the waiting room is just system audio. It's not Zoom.
It is system audio. That's my point. So if you go in there and you set up your headsets and you test them and you know that you're getting Zoom audio, I won't hear what you're saying.
Hold on, you lost me at the end there.
Okay. My Zoom headsets, okay, are not the same as my Mac OS system audio output.
Right.
Okay. So when you start speaking, you're on the system output, on the OS output. Even though I've selected in Zoom my headsets, I've tested them, I know they're working, I still can't hear what you're saying in my headsets.
Yeah, I think you can change what follows the system. I've run into this before where you instead of picking your headphones as the speakers, for example, you say follow system or whatever, but then you tell there's another line that lets you tell what the system is. So yeah, that's probably why it did that. I sort of remember running into this once before. But I think somebody last week was talking about that where it defaults to whatever your system audio is. So that's interesting that the waiting room is different than the meeting. Is the waiting room still active? Can you go there now? Is it still playing its little thing?
Yes, it is, but you need to ask whoever's looking after the waiting room not to let you in too quick. Otherwise, you don't get to hear David's chat.
Right, if you'd like to do that, I could send you there now.
Sure, I'll go check it out.
All righty.
So while he's checking that out, would anyone like to see something a little crazy? This is not specifically a Zoom thing, but
do we have to pay for it?
No, you don't. So what is this?
It's supposed to be ChatGPT, isn't it?
It's the OpenAI logo. Exactly.
Right. See,
Okay.
again, everybody's doing Kleenex. That is not ChatGPT's logo. That is OpenAI's logo.
So watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to just copy it. So now I have two of them, right? Now I'm going to take this second one and I'm going to flip it. That's all. Now watch this.
Yeah. Star of David.
I'm just saying. The Jews are taking over. Come on. That's
I was
cool.
too scared. I was too scared to say it.
But that's like the symbol for Epcot.
I mean, really?
Hey, David, you can say that. Us good Catholic boys probably can't get away with saying that.
Look at that. I love that so much.
Well, you know, David, God is in everything. So there you go.
Exactly. That's my point. And that's why I do the Zoom test kitchen.
Let's hope he's in AI or we're screwed.
Oh my God. I just thought that was wild. I just discovered that. So, Fred, what did you find?
David, you didn't discover that. Someone showed you that.
No, I
Surely,
didn't
surely you
discover that
would.
myself. No, you're absolutely right.
Thank you.
When I say I discovered it, what I meant to say, what I should have said is, I watched someone else discover it. Thank you, Robert.
I could not hear anything. I tried all of my audio sources and I never could hear you talking.
Well, one of the things I discovered.
Wait, did you press the unmute button? There's a button in the bottom right.
That's the key thing you have to do.
I guess I missed that.
There's a little, I even made a little arrow that points to it. Yeah, there's a
because it's at least it's gray on black on mine on my little screen.
Yeah, it's hard to see.
It's hard to see.
Yeah.
Because I was the first time first time you did that, I'm sitting there playing with the mute unmute button on my computer and I'm going,
Right.
why is it not talking to me?
So here, so just so people know, so don't, Mike, don't let this person in. I'm just going to join from the computer. 7.
And I'm spotlighting you.
I'm gonna connect to audio, but I'll turn off my video. Let me just think so we don't get crazy. Kitchen. Okay. So this is when you join, this is the experience that you have in the waiting room. And yes, I put a little thing down here. Sorry, because I moved this, it's all out of whack now. But you don't even see the unmute button unless you hover over it. Once you hover over it, don't forget to mute yourself when you aren't speaking. And remember, we're live on YouTube. Then you should be able to hear that. But yeah, I really would love to be able to force people to have the audio on, but I mean, if you're joining a meeting, presumably the expectation is that you're going to hear stuff. So I'm not sure it's a privacy.
Yeah, that was my expectation. I was not looking for something on the screen. I was looking at my settings, and I wasn't even paying attention to the screen.
Yeah. So I thought the arrow would help. Apparently it didn't. Oh, well.
David, was that a voice recording or was that a generated from text recording?
No, it's a voice. So this is made with Lemon Slice.
Okay.
So you go in and you record the audio, you give it an image, and then it just creates the video using the exact audio that you gave it.
Okay, but where did it take the image from?
I created this in chat and somewhere. Yeah, I created it in chat. I gave ChatGPT a picture of me in my studio, and then I had it cartoonify it or whatever you call it.
You call it Pixar.
Yeah,
Pixar type.
Okay, but my point is, David, did you accept and say that is, I agree that this is what I look like, and that's why you're using this image? Because it doesn't look like you.
Okay, I know, but
I'm just giving you a hard time.
Close enough, Robert.
Everyone is so
It sounds like you. It really sounds like you, but it doesn't look like you.
No, it is because it's me talking.
Yeah.
No, everyone is. No, that's a bad one. Where's my old one? Now I've lost them. So here you can see I uploaded. This is Lemon Slice. I uploaded the audio here. I think this is it. No, that's not it either. I don't even see where my project is. It was here a second ago. There it is. And now they're disappearing. Maybe because I stopped paying. I don't know. I made it once, I downloaded it, and then I stopped paying. Maybe it's that's the problem. I bet you that's what it is.
David,
you don't have to pay.
Yeah. David, when you created the image, you probably chose the Pixar option as the image. Yeah.
I thought I think it's cute though. Wait, where is he? I don't even know where he is. I love my guy.
It's just interesting that you actually associate yourself with something that looks like that.
I have no idea what I look like. I don't. I mean, I've tried a whole bunch of different versions. Here's a guy. I mean, he's kind of good. So I took a picture, and I got that guy. What else? I've done this a bunch of times. There's another guy, Rock and Ralb. There's another. I keep getting a fat face. See, this is the best one, and I mean, I'm kind of a hefty guy, but not that like my face isn't that round. But every time I tell it to make me thinner, it does weird stuff with me. So
don't blame AI.
I'm not. No, I'm okay. These are me trying to get the perfect prompt to do it. What are these? Oh, here are the original ones that I did. See, so I said I wanted it to make it more realistic, and then I don't know who that is. Oh my God. And you can see me.
Wow, that one looks like my cardiologist.
And I'm saying, no, stop. Wait, I want the same background, the same shirt. And then they do something different. No, I want the same background, the same shirt. Oh my gosh. It's just terrible. It really is. But
I'm sorry, I didn't want to pick on you, David, but it just doesn't look like you. That was my
But it
point.
doesn't have to look like me. That's okay. It doesn't have to look like me.
Yeah, but it sounds like you, so we know it's you, David.
So now so you're saying I need to have something that looks like me because it sounds like me. That actually makes sense. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh, it's so late. It's so late. Mike, get the graphic ready.
Uh-oh.
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 All right. This one? Wishing
bailing
everybody
out?
wishing everybody
Wait.
a happy Canada Day. All right.
Go for it.
There it was. See?
That's perfect.
I'm getting a standing ovation from Jason. I appreciate that. From all us Canucks. We're first, and then you guys are next. So we get to do it July 1st, and then you guys will do it on the 4th.
Well, congratulations.
We will be here. We will be here.
But ours is bigger and more beautiful than anyone has ever seen in the whole world.
We
ever.
We have more bombs and explosions and blasts.
And they're bigger and more beautiful than anyone in the world has ever seen.
And I'm officially outnumbered this week. So everybody on YouTube, that's why I'm not making any comments right now. So there you go. So that's the official answer to that too. But yes, David. Oh, no. Oh, yes, he did sneakily, he made me host again. So I'm taking over. All right. So David wants the graphic. I will cross my fingers and see if the graphic actually works. It did. We're doing question and answers. That's the graphic that David wanted. So let us know in YouTube chat. So Robert.
I'm off as well. See you guys.
All right, Hasmukh, take care. Good to see you. Thanks for the meters and all the meter help today and making sure that Robert now knows that it's chances are operating system issues. Robert, looks like I'm seeing something, but those are the built-in ones in Windows, right? Did you get up there?
No, these are the what do we call these? The loopback. Audio loopback.
Right.
But it doesn't show you what you really want. It's just, and I've got a message there from Zoom.
To turn on your reactions. Yep. Good old Zoom throwing in their advertising. Oh, yeah, you're doing something in Zoom. Here's a free pop-up. Cool. All right.
Mine are dead.
All right. So Lois is asking, is there a service where someone can do for one what David did for himself? Lois, I would need more info on that.
I think Lois is asking if you can change yourself to look like someone else.
Oh, she was talking about the actual Pixar image that he was doing. Is there someone that could do that? I would guess so, because it only needs just an image of some sort to go off of to generate everything. So it easily could be in an image of, even if David probably even used a real photo of himself, it would probably do its best to generate from there using the audio to properly generate it. That is my guess. I not played with what David was using, but she's saying make a person. Okay. Oh, if there's a service that can make a person, I think so. I think there is an AI. You can actually get people similar to what we have with Zoom, where you can sort of get yourself avatared a bit. Sort of, I think that's where you might be Do you know of a service? Anybody know of a service that Lois is asking in chat that could basically do what David did, but as a real person, but not necessarily you?
I know the film guys are using a lot of AI stuff these days. Whatever programs they're using.
Yeah. Yeah. The only thing that just came to my mind was Unreal Engine, but that is a little different. Again, you have all the different things on your body, and that's more of a 3D thing, but that's a little different again. In the AI world,
Lois, Canva
Lois-
will do it. If I don't know if you use Canva for your other graphics type stuff, but it has an AI generator in there.
There you go. Yeah, again, Canva does have a lot of AI related tools. And of course, you could actually export videos from Canva, not just images. So there's a lot of different features that Canva has that could actually potentially do something like this. Lois actually has another comment here. What I mean is someone to pay if I don't want to learn how to do it myself. Oh, third party service doing it. So you would actually buy their service from them and actually generating it for you. Good question. I would say somebody should, but I don't know of any that will do it without you doing it and paying a third party person doing it. I would say with, again, at a reasonable cost would be also the other scenario that I would throw in there too. Because again, as Fred was mentioning, if you're starting to get into the higher end video production world, of course, there would be a higher cost. But again, it would be that much more professional looking. So again, your mileage may vary if it's AI generating it, or if it's a person in conjunction with AI generating it, or if it's some sort of third party programming that is using AI that's also a real person doing it. There could be a few different situations. Anybody else got any thoughts?
Can always bid out the work with freelancers. You go to Upwork and you can put out a request for bid and have multiple people bid on the project.
Right. So what I'll do is in chat, I will put the link to that and for Lois, and that is upwork.com. Oh, let me do that again.
Or Fiverr, that's another one.
There we go. YouTube understood at that time. First, you had to put the HTTPS before YouTube made it a link in chat. That's interesting. What else was I gonna mention? Getting back to Windows quickly, the couple other features that I did see quickly before joining the Zoom Test Kitchen today, because again, this was hot news. It just came out. From my understanding, it was 12 hours ago at this point, actually about 14 hours ago, that Microsoft actually pushed the actual latest version of Windows 11's patch. And it added additional functionality into some of the Microsoft apps, which includes Paint, Notepad, and their snipping tool. Jason, I think I did that all right, if I'm remembering. Yeah, all three? Okay, good. Yeah, in those, they've added Copilot-ish functionality into it. So you can play around with that if you are running Windows 11 24H2, the latest version. You should be able to see those functionalities in there. If you're having problems with that, of course, let us know in the Zoom Test Kitchen community, because you never know what might be happening and what they actually did in the background with this latest version. That's why Jason said in the beginning, to be determined. It's too early right now, right, Jason?
Yeah, because the Copilot stuff that's going on, like for example, it's in Notepad, and then the idea is so that just like in Word, you could ask it to condense this, make this less formal, analyze this code. So if you've copied a piece of code over and you've dropped it into Notepad, analyze this code and troubleshoot it. You know, you can ask it things like that. And the idea in Paint is that it becomes generative. Make David look thinner. You know, that type of stuff. But what's going on is obviously it's messing around with a lot of the permissions and stuff too. So that can cause other issues downstream of other things that are looking at permissions and causing conflicts. And what happens if you've got two things requesting permissions at the same time? Oh, but I'm not using Copilot. Yeah, but it's cooking in the background. So when you're using Zoom, did you turn Copilot off? I don't know how to do that. That's all the kind of stuff that we're checking out right now.
Yeah, and again, Windows is not making it easy to, as Jason just said, you know, are you using Copilot in the background? Windows is not making it easy to actually turn that off either. So that's going to also be another problem down the road too. The other thing that is Jason, that recall? Is that the
recall? Yeah,
yes.
Total recall.
Yes, and again, that is going to be a big concern for Zoom, our Zoom Test Kitchen community, with recall, because if you are in that very private Zoom meeting that is highly confidential in one way or another, you may want to be able to make sure that Copilot recall is not on, because, of course, not only is it listening to the audio and the text within Zoom, because it's within any app on your machine, it's also watching the video. So that is also another issue too, that if there's visual documents or visual content, let's say it that way, being shown in Zoom, that potentially Copilot could intercept that because it's looking at all your apps, and it's not discriminating unless there's going to be a way to actually within Windows to be able to go into your settings, as you can sort of now, but not great, actually go in and then disable what Copilot's allowed to listen to.
Recall can be turned off as of right now. Mike, does recall pick up audio too?
Again, I would say maybe not right now, but they never said that it won't.
Oh,
so
yeah.
that,
Yeah,
right?
no, good point. Exactly. Right? Just because they didn't say it would didn't mean that they said it won't.
Right.
But for sure it does visuals right now. So
yeah,
what recall does is basically, I think Apple has a similar version. It's called Time Machine, but basically it's like if you want to say, oh, you know, I was working on that document earlier, or what the heck was it called? And you could ask recall using a couple of phrases, and then it will contextually search and pull the stuff back. Or you could even just say, I was working on something this morning, show me what I was working on this morning, and it would show everything from the time you logged on until 11:59 a.m. because it knows what morning is, and it would show you snapshots of everything that you worked on. So yeah, if there's something confidential or proprietary in there, that's an issue. But as of right now, recall can be turned off.
Right.
Can you still uninstall Copilot?
You can. It's not straightforward. Like, you're not going to get clear instructions from Microsoft how to do it, but
right.
you can
In
disable
the beginning, you just go to the apps, you know, and go down through them, and then just click uninstall, and it would. Yeah,
the challenge is now there's more than one Copilot, and typical Microsoft, the labeling's not clear. So you have Copilot that's embedded within the OS that through add remove programs you can modify and uninstall up to a degree. Then there's Copilot that's churning within Microsoft Office, so you'd have to go within Office and tickle it. Then there's a Copilot that's part of M365, so if you're using the web apps, it's sitting there. And then it's closely related with Bing Search. So if you have the Bing Search app on your computer, there's yet another place that it pops up.
Yeah. So the easy answer, Fred, is that we hope so, but we doubt it. Is the official answer are we going to be able to really shut it off? Because even if we shut it off at all the apps, Microsoft apps or non-Microsoft apps that have some sort of Copilot feature in it,
Yeah, I was just
that it
surprised that
still will be, it's still going to be at the actual operating system level, and it's going to be baked in, and it's dangerous then at that particular point to try to get it out of the operating system itself level, because you could potentially corrupt your operating system.
I was surprised that I was able to uninstall it because, like Xbox Live, you can't, or part of the Xbox, it's baked in, and you cannot uninstall it. But Copilot, it let me uninstall, and I don't use the other ones that you mentioned. My Office is still on a disk from 2007, so.
Right. But again, if you have the, so again, as an example, is that let's say you use Paint or Notepad, right? Again, those got updated yesterday, and now they have Copilot in them. Can you get rid of Notepad and Paint? Now the infamous, this is where the game is going to be playing now, that, you know, it's going to, they're trying to force feed it to you that, you know, it is good. We're not going to do anything bad, which is fine. And again, it's to each, you know, it's to everybody's users' preferences, what you feel is your security, right? When it comes to data. So if you're okay with certain programs knowing certain things about you, and that's where the AI world is in general at this point, then, you know, all is good. But if you are security conscious, or if you're in, you know, security type IT positions, especially if you have a legal team that is going, okay, this person, that person, this person, that person are going to be seeing legal documents, as an example, that are, you know, should be only seen by a small handful, if not less, of people. Are you making sure to shut off Copilot because you're using Windows?
Well,
right?
and can you shut it off now that they're baking it in more and more and more?
Well, Fred, the workaround kind of right now, the dirty little secret is you still can run a Windows 11 machine without having to create a login. You could still do a, you know, a local only. Now, how long that'll last, who knows, because they want that to go away, so that you would never be able to use a Windows machine unless you logged in as some sort of user. And then Copilot wants to store everything, you know, wants that contextual data. So what documents does Fred work on? Who's in Fred's contact book? What meeting has Fred gone to? What's his location? If you use LinkedIn, that gets sucked in there as well, because that also is so it's trying to build this whole knowledge around who Fred is, what Fred likes, and this context, so that when Fred asks AI a question, it can give an appropriate answer. Okay, sounds nice. Where's that data stored, and for how long? And what if I don't want it to listen because I'm dealing with sensitive confidential? So if you are a webinar producer, you're in the production space, you know, right now you can run a local only version, turn off different things, and it not build any context. So even if it is watching and listening, it's kind of dumb and has nothing to anchor it to. In the future, kind of where I think this might be going is, like, for my clients, I'm just going to have a government machine, you know, that's tied to a .mil email address or something like that, and have the government version of Windows on there that has Copilot turned off in order to continue to service those clients. I'm either going to have that kind of machine, or because even if you're running Zoom, the HIPAA compliant version, like you've paid the extra license, or you're running the Zoom.mil license, or you're running the Zoom.gov license. Okay, so you think, yes, we're secure.
I think Zoom.gov has gone away because all of they forced BLM to take everything to Teams, and they took all of our licenses away. So Zoom.gov may not be a thing anymore.
It won't be, if you know, if and for that very reason, because with Teams it bakes it behind the Microsoft firewall, right? Keeps it within your organization. it's much harder to go outside your organization in Teams than it is with Zoom. So, but yeah, I mean, that's kind of where that's going, I think.
Yeah, and of course we can also throw in here too, Fred, the infamous Windows 10 dying in October. Now, what I mean by dying is it doesn't die;
It
they're
just
just
doesn't
not
support
supporting it anymore. Yes,
for 2
which
years.
also right. And again, what they have now done as of this week, and Jason, I think you might be privy to this too, is that Windows 10 they will support you for a year if you're a home person, if you have a Microsoft account and you associate it with your PC. So what are they doing? It's the infamous, what we call data mining, which is the infamous, they want you to, like Jason was saying with Windows 11, where they're forcing you into the Microsoft account eventually and taking away the local accounts. They're also now going, oh, okay, all you Windows 10 people, we'll support you. We're still going to have the service packs. And well, you can see my age there when I said service pack, and Jason's going to laugh at me on that one. I miss them. I miss the service packs. I really do. I wish they were back instead of what I had yesterday. That wasn't pleasant, especially when Patch Tuesday was Tuesday and Windows 11 decided to be its own day. That was not impressive to me or my team this week at all. So basically, so Windows 10. So yes, so the Windows 10, they said for home people, not business, not anybody else. Take care, Fred. Oh, bye, Robert. Oh, sorry. Bye, Robert. Sorry. That they will allow you to be on for a year, but again, you're only getting that year. And that will get you to, but there's certain criteria. And one of the criteria is that you now cannot have a local account anymore, Windows 10. You have to log into your machine as a Microsoft account. So automatically they're going to try to upsell you. You're going to automatically, insert here. Why are you still on Windows 10?
Yeah, it's so that when you are ready to migrate to 11, your stuff is already tied to a Microsoft account, and it will make the transition easier. That's the official story.
Yeah, but
and let's face it, Google made a lot of money by giving away free software, and all you had to do was create an account, and it knows a lot about you. And Microsoft was behind on that one, so they're playing catch up.
Yeah, because again, I'm old enough to know that I have one of the original Hotmail accounts. So they were there. They decided to forget about that and said, oh, this Outlook thing is more important. And they went to Outlook World, and now they're sort of going back going, oh, yeah. Yeah, we were doing pretty good back in those Hotmail days. Yeah, you were. Because, of course, that's when Microsoft decided to compete against Gmail. Way, way back in the days.
Mike, did you guys make a decision on whether you're doing the Zoom phone or not?
Oh, we have not finalized that as of yet. I'm still looking into that. I'm still in negotiations with the actual my sales rep, Zoom sales rep regarding Zoom phone. Curiosity, Jason?
Yeah, and I'll put this out on the floor for everyone. I've really got a Jekyll and Hyde kind of personality about this because Zoom is really pushing us to be an all-in-one provider, and so I could see the benefit in that. Okay, however, I'm also of a very firm mindset, like do one thing and do it well. And don't try to be everything to everybody, right? If I need a hammer, I get a hammer. If I need a saw, I need a saw. I'm not going to use a hammer to do a saw's work. So if I need a document, I'm going to go to Microsoft Word. If I need slides, I'm going to go to PowerPoint, or I'm going to use Keynote. Or if I'm creating tasks, I'm going to do that as part of my calendaring function or my project management function. And So yeah, they're willing to sell you all this stuff to little or no price increase, just to get you hooked on the kind of stuff. I just need you to do video conferencing better than anybody else. Like, that's what I'm paying you for. That's what I'm expecting. So I put that out there on the floor for everyone else to kind of see where you're at on that.
Yeah. So when it comes to the Zoom phone situation for us, the convenience is there because we're already got Zoom within the office. So that's A. So that's a positive in that regard. So making the two together is convenient. We currently already have it separated. So keeping it separated is not a big deal for my employees. So it will come down to convenience or not. And that was where the board of directors is that I'm part of is struggling to decide on, do we have two or have one?
Could you take a step back and explain, because Zoom already has call-in.
Right.
I'm not sure what Zoom phone.
So Fred, if you're familiar with voice over IP,
Yes.
that's Zoom phone.
They're offering a whole IBX kind of type solution. Like, we'll handle all your phone traffic for you and give you a console, and you can have a receptionist live or virtual or AI.
Oh, okay, yeah, because I'm using Uma.
Yeah, so a Zoom version of Umo plus plus, and then there's Zmail that they want to put in there. So if you want to change your email provider and calendar provider and have it all part of Zoom, and so and like I say, the sales team is really active in that area.
Yeah. And so getting back to our decision, the way that we're doing our decision right now. So right now, as I said, we're separate. So we've got our phone service with X provider, and we've got Zoom and Zoom events. So I've got that, and I've got the VoIP provider on our own. So it came up that our contract negotiation with our current VoIP provider is coming up. So the board of directors asked me, knowing how much involvement that they've allowed me to have in the Zoom Test Kitchen community and the Zoom community, they said, "Well, Mike, isn't there a Zoom phone product?" And I said, "Yeah." So I've been tasked to, do the research on the actual technology and to figure out if it's the right fit for us. They see the convenience in it. Instead of being two providers, we're one provider. My IT background gets eerie of that because if Zoom goes down, everything goes down. And Jason didn't mention that one yet. So that makes me paranoid.
And how do you force people to be on Wi-Fi only?
Tell me more.
Well, I mean, if you're having a VoIP device, you have to be on the internet, right?
Well,
you
have
to forward
to,
it to mobile. You have to
Yeah.
In the admin console. You can, essentially, it's kind of like the old days. Ring to desk phone. If after the third ring it doesn't pick up, forward
Right.
to.
Right. That's what I have through Uma. Right. But
Yeah.
I was thinking if you're having a Zoom phone that's VoIP, the only time it would ever work is when you're within a Wi-Fi range. If you're having a VoIP,
Yeah.
VoIP phone.
Yeah, and it's not. Yeah, the infrastructure that the Zoom phone product itself is not much different than any standardized VoIP provider offers. They just make it easier so that all of a sudden now, if you take a Zoom phone call, you can now punch a button and now it turns into a Zoom meeting without having to have third party people making those two together, right?
Yeah.
So that's A,
Yeah.
right?
And
So
Teams
if
will
we-
do the same thing.
Right. And Teams will do the same thing when it comes to, the phone component and the conferencing component. So that is the luxury of that. And of course, in our situation, we don't need it currently, but we don't do contact center either, which is another additional add-on to Zoom Phone. Zoom Phone is just regular VoIP, but Contact Center is more of you've got 10, 20 employees in a call center, and you've got 10 or 20 employees that are in the sales arm, and you've had a content center, you got a contact center for sales, you got a contact center for tech, and you're calling in 1-800 numbers, and it's all about, if I go into my telco world from 30-ish years ago, hunt groups where you have all the old hunt groups where you call into the main number and it starts rolling over to everybody. Well, that's part of the VoIP stuff, but it's more part of the contact center stuff where you can actually get stats on how long was that person on the call with the person, how many issues came up. Can I throw in AI companion in there to help the tech to make sure that they answer the answers properly, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So there's all that baked into their Zoom Phone and Zoom Contact Center, which is that sort of arm. They're two semi-separate arms, but they're fully in conjunction with each other because you need Zoom Phone to have Zoom Contact Center, right? It's not like with us, you can have Zoom meetings and not have Zoom events, even though Zoom events is basically Zoom meetings on steroids with a pretty interface, right? And I know Josh is probably not going to like me saying that, but it sort of is, but it sort of is technically. But when it comes to Zoom Phone, that's where we're at right now, is we're still in the decision level of we're separate now. Do I want to put all the eggs in one basket? Jason's comment. Do I trust all the eggs being in one basket? My comment, again, with my sysadmin hat from 30 odd years ago. That makes me more paranoid than anything, to be honest. And then it also is going to come down to that Zoom Phone competitively right now that I've seen, similar to how much their storage space for Zoom recordings is also quite expensive. And we don't use them for that either. And we use another service called Sync. A, they're Canadian, and B, that the rates that I'm getting with Sync are just superior to the amount that it costs us for storage, would cost us for storage for Zoom recordings. When it comes to the Zoom Phone, same thing. It's not their actual service that costs quite a bit, but it's their per minute charges that are now becoming, with Umu, as you know, you probably either have a package or you're paying a per minute of X amount of cents, if not less.
A package is the same. Doesn't matter.
Right.
I could have the phone off the hook 24 hours a day and it doesn't matter.
Right. Yeah. So again, if I'm in the Zoom Phone world, they do have an unlimited, but they also have per minute. But again, it's also based too, and again, this is all variant on different VoIP providers too, is that majority of our conversations that we use on our phone system is all Canada based. Obviously, we're based here in Canada and our business is based here in Canada. So yes, we will make US calls and international calls, but here's where the limitation of Zoom Phone's packages is I get US and Canada, great, unlimited, fine. But now if I have to make international calls, all of a sudden my cents per minute are much more expensive. So now I've got to weigh out, which is what I've been doing over the last few weeks, weigh out the amount of time that we actually use on the phone systems, A. So take that from our current provider stats that I'm getting, and then go, okay, does it make sense for me to get an unlimited per month or not per user? And the way that Zoom Phone unfortunately licenses the Zoom Phone, and Jason, I don't know if you know this or not, but it's per user outbound call. So what does that mean? Is that so if there's certain people that will make inbound and outbound calls, they automatically have to have a Zoom Phone license added to their Zoom minimum pro, if not business account. Okay. So that's A. So that means that people that don't actually have Zoom in my company right now, because there are employees that don't have Zoom right now, I would have to force to have Zoom because they use phone. So that's another where I'm now weighing that out, that automatically they would be able to have at least a minimum of Zoom Pro with the Zoom Phone equivalent. and have that capability now that I only need them to be a phone person. I don't need them to be a Zoom meeting person, right? Because that's not their job. They're never going to be public facing with either any of our customers or anything in that regards.
And
So
this
that
is company cost, right? The company would be paying for the employees. This is
correct.
not the employees paying for this.
Absolutely. So this is all coming out of our budget that is currently allocated to Zoom here and VoIP here, right? So
And you
now
said
I've got
some
to,
are outbound. So could you have, a certain number of extensions that were inbound only and then a certain number that were outbound only?
yeah. So you can actually have from my conversations and any of the Zoomies, if you're watching me, please clarify if I'm right in chat. My understanding currently from the research that I've done is that I'm allowed to have associated free accounts, non-licensed, non-Zoom phone licensed, but they're inbound only. So they only will get then an extension. Jason, you followed that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And so let me say that one more time, just in case everybody on YouTube did not get that. So basically I'd have to then, if they never have, so I'd have to set up basically everybody would have to have a Zoom account, free or licensed, to be able to use Zoom phone, A. B, if they're making outbound calls, they may or may not need a license. If they're making outbound calls, they will need a license. But if they're just a call center, and I don't want to use that because we don't have a call center, but in their mind, that's a call center scenario where they would have one phone number and then it gets sent over for sales, press one, and it's going over to the sales department. Well, they'll never make outbound calls. They're only getting inbound calls because it's internal to Zoom system. It'll get bounced over to an extension that does not need a license.
Okay, that makes sense.
Jason's understanding that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
for
I run
me,
into this all the time before you call somebody and you got a terrible connection with them. I go, why don't you just call me back? You just called me. Well, no, the system just called me, right?
Right.
But
Yeah.
so the individual that I'm speaking with can't call me because they're in inbound only.
That's right.
yeah, right. So again, it's similar to that scenario. Again, of course, publicly, I had to get this from the Zoom phone tech that was on the call with me. I said to him, I said, so does this mean that all my employees actually have to have a Zoom Pro, let's say Zoom Pro with Zoom phone at minimum, not even Zoom Business at this point, but we, right now, majority of our accounts are only Pro. I've never needed to get into business, but again, depending on where this will go to, I might get modified into Zoom Business because it might be cheaper in one way or another eventually because phone's in it and not in it, right? It just works out. It'll work out how, depending on the licensing structure that we ended up getting, which again, definitely is customizable.
Oh,
as long
well,
as you don't do sales.
yeah, I was about to say, it most definitely sounds like it. So, I mean, theoretically, you could have 10 inbound lines as part of your call center, and you have 4 outbound sales agents, 2 of whom have international capability, and then you would have billing appropriate to those 15 accounts.
Correct. Right.
Okay.
So basically, you could actually get. So that license, the Zoom phone license, would be. I haven't been offered when you were making the comment about international, Jason. I haven't been offered an unlimited international. So the only ones that have been unlimited at this particular point have been Canada, US, Mexico, I believe. For us, it would never be. The reason I'm hesitant about Mexico because it's not at the top of my brain. Because again, if anything, we've been doing majority of our phone calls to Canada and US.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
But
Good
when
info.
it comes,
Thank you.
but when it comes to, I'm weighing the positives and the negatives of this, and I'm doing the calculations in the back end because the unlimited, as there really is no such thing as unlimited. It's just a nice marketing term. So anything really out there that classifies itself as unlimited is just, somebody's paying somewhere for something. just like when it comes to streaming, but that's a whole other topic. Because streaming is not free. And if you think it is, YouTube audience, it's not. And yes, we're broadcasting to YouTube on for free, but guess who's paying for the back end of YouTube? That they're Google people. That's why they want all your information in your free Gmail account. That's the best way I could say that in that regard. But when it comes to right now, I'm weighing the positives and negatives, and it's actually been for me a lot more difficult than I thought, just because of the convenience of it being incorporated within Zoom is so enticing that I'm having a tough time going, do I really want to play the extra for the convenience for my employees? But again, now the employees that I haven't officially trained, even though they probably know Zoom, I haven't officially trained them on Zoom, would now have to get trained internally by my IT staff about Zoom. But you're only using Zoom. You never can use a Zoom for meeting, but you sort of could. But a meeting will officially only last 40 minutes because then it officially is in the free zone. But I would never want them to be doing meetings, so it would be a bit difficult. See you, Jason?
I'm sure there would be.
That was Roland. Yeah, take care, Roland.
I'm sure there would be an overlap transition time. Obviously, you'd have to keep whatever you have now, and you would have Zoom for, let's say, a month or 2 months until you go, okay, we're going to cut off the other one.
Right. So here's the other scenario too with this, and Jason knows this as well, which is so if you have a license, you officially get a legit phone number gets allocated. So my extensions, which are my free accounts, do not officially get a phone number attached to their account with the license. So again, we will have, if we do go down the Zoom phone route as an example, every license will get its own phone number. It won't be the corporate phone number, but it will be a phone number assigned by Zoom, right? Hopefully, which I haven't looked into too much, hopefully within our proper area code of where we're based. That's a whole another story in the VoIP world too. But when it comes to, let me see here. When it comes to so each license will have its own phone number. But again, when it comes to the extensions, they will not have a phone number associated with them, so they never could make a phone call out. That is the differentiating between license versus non-license, free account versus a minimum a pro account, if not a business account that can then get Zoom phone on it.
The other question is the hardware. I just had a thought. We're not necessarily talking cell phones.
No.
We're potentially talking SIP phones, right?
Correct.
I was saying earlier, you plug them into the internet. You take your phone, it's assigned to you. You can plug it in anywhere in the world, but because it's a VoIP phone, you have to plug it into the internet. It's not necessarily a cell phone.
Right. And again, the convenience of Zoom phone within Zoom is that it's now in the Zoom client. So you're making your phone call. So as long as you have some sort of internet on your phone somewhere in the Zoom client, you can make a phone call out of the Zoom client and it will be under the corporate Zoom phone package, right?
You could do it on your cell phone on using the Zoom app on Wi-Fi or mobile data, however it connects to the Zoom server, but you would do it through the Zoom app. It sees the traffic through the app, and then based off of your account and permissions, you're either an inbound phone device, an outbound phone device,
right?
Or you're in the tree waiting for your rotation.
Right, but right now the phone numbers that they give you in Zoom, it's for you to call into a meeting. So it's very specific. It's not like you're getting a number.
No, they have telephone numbers, and you can port your numbers over too.
Yeah, that was the next topic that I was going to talk about too, was porting. But yeah, before you to get Fred, make sure that the YouTube audience understands what Fred is asking too. It's related to you got to be careful when we talk about Zoom meeting IDs versus Zoom physical. They're actually giving you a PSTN, or what we call in the IT world a DID. So a DID would be, in our case for Toronto,
Direct inward dial.
yeah. So that's right. So 416.555.1212, is the infamous fake number that you'll see most of the time in the movies. Again, our 416 would be, of course, our Toronto area code, right? So you would actually get a 7 or 10-digit number, which is not to be confused with meeting ID, which is what you're automatically generated when you create a meeting. So they're, again, two different systems here. So when you're making a phone call, it's not a Zoom meeting, but you could turn a Zoom phone call within a few seconds after the Zoom phone call starts into a Zoom meeting.
Because it's in the Zoom ecosphere.
Right. And this is where Jason's talking about. Now you're in the universe of Zoom, where it's like, oh, okay, you're calling this person that just so happened to answer you that has a Zoom phone client as well. And you're a Zoomy to Zoomy now. So now you can now break that into, get it out of the phone system, get it into the meeting system, right? So there is that convenience there, which is enticing. I just have to figure out if it's monetarily enticing enough, right? At this particular point.
Do all Zoom phones have a camera built into them?
The physical phones that you can get from their top providers, which of course, if you're familiar with the old Polycom days, which are HP now that owns Poly, there is the Poly units. Some of their more expensive ones do have a baby webcam built into them, so that you can actually do a visual.
I was just talking about the branded name Zoom phone. Because you could drop a Cisco, you could drop an Avaya, you could drop a whatever.
Yeah, Zoom themselves does not make a physical Zoom phone.
They do not.
They do not themselves. They rely on third-party companies. So right now, the big ones are Yalink, Jason, Yalink, Polycom, Poly, aka HP. Zoom is actually doing a very big push on the Poly brand. Again, you have to make sure that your phone preferably is Zoom certified. Not just VoIP certified, but Zoom certified, because at least then you know that if you're putting on all your Zoom credentials within the phone, that it'll work. And also that in the back end, without going into this too much, but in the back end, the Zoom administration of the phones can be done from the Zoom admin.
Are these Zoom phones going to have a bunch of USB-C or USB-A connections on it, so you can plug in your own webcam, plug in your own headset? You don't want to be sitting there on the phone like this,
right?
And you may not necessarily want to be on a speakerphone, especially if you're in a cubicle, because you're not in an office. You don't want people next door. So how is that going to work?
Yeah, the official answer to that is depending on the brand would be the answer. I know with the Poly one, you could easily use any, and I'll say it in Fred terminology, any TRRS type headset with the models that we're currently looking at, which is the Poly E series models. Jason, you're familiar with those ones?
You just dropped it in the link. I'm looking at them now.
Yeah. Is that in that list?
Poly is in there. Yeah.
Yeah. So that there's certain models in there that actually on the side of the unit, it actually has a TRRS. And for those on YouTube, not knowing what I mean by that, again, if you're from, tip ring sleeve is what that stands for. So basically it allows for the microphone to not only be used as well as your earbuds. So you could potentially, if you did have a Mac based TRRS based headphones or any PC based ones that have the TRRS capabilities in them, you could plug them in the side of the Poly. Of course, Poly would like you to use their other company that Poly ended up buying, of course, which was they'll come to me, and Jason, if you beat me to it, I appreciate it. Polly ended up buying Jabra.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, Jabra. Yeah, am I right? Is it Jabra? I
They
will
make
double
nice
check.
headsets.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm going to head out of here. It's supper time. And I'm also going to be working on the XPS remote stuff. So hopefully I have a working demo for you all next week.
That's
Figure
cool.
out what the little glitch was.
Yeah, that's cool, Jason. I saw that earlier. I was up to my elbows and doing different things, but yeah, I'll definitely check out the archive on that. What you guys were doing there, trying to get things working. I was talking to Roland. I think you were working with Roland on that, Jason, were you?
With David.
Oh, with David. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. 'Cause I think Roland was actually trying to have me do it as well, where he was trying to send me accept the join. Is that what you guys were playing with?
Yeah, they have to talk to each other, and that's where it was falling apart. So I'll work on it, and hopefully we'll have a good demo for next week. I mean, like I say, it's only a few weeks old. They don't even have their documentation up. It's just placeholders on the website.
Yeah.
So we'll see, but that would really be nice if everything works swimmingly.
Cool.
All right. Have a good one. See y'all next week.
Yeah.
All right,
Good luck with Windows 11, Jason.
Yeah. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
You got it. Cool.
Well,
All right.
I guess it's probably a good time to bow out.
All right. Let me just do one more quick thing for the YouTube audience. And Fred's probably got more VoIP questions for me, and I can answer those too. But if anybody in the YouTube has any questions for Fred and I, you've got Fred in front of us. So if there's any audio questions, by all means ask. You've got the floor. So let us know on YouTube, and I will relay it back to one of us, and we'll definitely figure out if we can help you. But Fred, yeah, so just to put a little more of a closer on the Zoom phone scenario, you could, in the case of my employees as well, I could just I could all buy them each individual Zoom phones and then just have them sit there with the inbound with the Zoom phone too. But then now they're tied to a desk. Right. So I now have to go. A lot of them are not necessarily tied to a desk, especially some of my employees that are warehouse based, where sometimes they just want to be able to make a phone call out. Does that mean I have a license of that sitting there so that maybe they can make a phone call out? Or do I put a Zoom phone into a breakout room, into like in a break room or a lunch room and, force everybody to run into there to actually where now our current provider allows me to have unlimited users and I'm just paying for usage. Zoom is backwards in that regard, where they're charging you per user and then they can do unlimited of X, but international becomes then the gravy of Y on top of that.
Right.
So this is why I'm torn between, do I go keep it separate and just retrain them on a new system, which hopefully I can reuse some of the old system gear, right? So that's also enticing me too, is that, if I do go with a new provider, how much different is that new provider than the old provider? And if I go into the Zoom phone universe, does that mean now I have to wipe out all the phones and get all brand new headsets? Fine. Initial cost, fine. But now the other scenario too is that, okay, it makes sense because of the fact that I don't necessarily need everybody to be able to, at their desk, to be able to call out, right? So it's some of their, in their positions, a lot of them are just not twiddling their thumbs waiting for that phone call to come, but they could be, that they're not. It's not.
It just depends on what the business is. What are those employees doing? I mean, do they, like I say, if they're just answering questions or they're tech support, whatever, that kind of stuff. But obviously, if they're salespeople, they got to be able to talk both ways, and so you would obviously have to break it up by department, and then the thing, like you said, or maybe you have a warehouse. Maybe it would be good to have a room that they would have to go to make a phone call, because that'll keep the noise down, be a little more private. I don't know. It all just depends on the scenario of the company, obviously.
Yeah. So I'm definitely weighing my options either way, and I haven't made a decision yet. Let's put it that way. And I'm also similar to Jason, where I don't like all eggs in one basket scenario. So that itself always concerns me too. Again, I'm very much like Jason, where it's like you do Zoom events well, you do Zoom, you do the Zoom, the UCC as we use it in the industry, which is Unified Communications. You do that well, you do the meetings well, you do webinar well, you do all that well. Do I really want to give you my phone business too? And, am I going to get a good bang for my buck? I guess would be the official terminology in the end.
Well, and then the other thing is, like you said before, all your eggs in one basket. Because now they go down, you're completely down. You don't have options.
Right. I don't know enough about what options from the Zoom phone side, which is I'm still doing research on, of what does happen if Zoom should go down. There should be a way to, in our current provider, as an example, is that should the servers I'm connecting to die, they have backup servers, right? And I just put them in the hunt roll list that automatically, server one dies. Okay, I'm going to server two. And I'm just hoping that both of them didn't die. Or, again, our current provider also does redundant data centers too. So again, I can point one in our case to Toronto, and I can also point one to Montreal. Well, if both of those physical data centers are down in two different provinces in our country of Canada, then chances are there's a bigger problem going on.
Problems, yes.
then chances are nobody's making a phone call to us anyways. But again, I have that capability. With Zoom right now, I haven't been told that. Because right now, I'm going to X data center, and should X data center go down, what happens? Right? Where do I automatically get thrown to an American data center? Do I get thrown to a different province? I don't have enough technical details in that regards. And again, as we've said here in the Zoom Test Kitchen, trying to find out some of those technical details that are pretty critical, especially it's the onus will come down onto me, making sure that our phone system doesn't die. We can live without Zoom meeting, to be quite honest, Zoom, and we love you. But, we can live without doing meetings right now. And if we have to cancel a meeting, but, taking our phone business away too, I don't know. All right.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a tough, but it's like anything else. It's new. Sometimes you got to look at the numbers, and if it makes financial sense in the long run. I mean, obviously you're going to have a huge upfront cost with hardware and stuff.
Yep.
But how long has your company been in business? 10 years? 20 years? Over the next 10, 20 years, is it going to cost average itself to be better than where you are now?
Right. And on top of that too, Fred, too, as we are doing well too, we're starting to grow as well. So again, does that mean, the newer system, every time I hire an employees, I'm calling my sales rep at Zoom that I need a new license, right? Where with my current system and with other non-Zoom phone systems, I just go in there, I add the new user, I add the new extension, and I can do whatever I want. I'm done. Which I can do in Zoom phone, but if I have to allocate a phone number to that person or not, that becomes the next play in this, which is, if then I would have to get another license. So then it would be me calling our sales rep to get that done. So on that note, Fred, I think it's time to wrap it up for another week of the Zoom Test Kitchen. And Fred, you're the lucky person that gets to tell me the genre.
Ooh, what were my choices again? Let's see. We did surf last week. We did. I think I've heard country.
Yeah.
Somebody was asking for jazz.
Somebody was asking for jazz. That's right. There was definitely. I know that there was a conversation about blues, but unfortunately,
I think you played the blues ones, or isn't the blues one the normal one?
Blues one was the one that actually Robert, who was with us today. Thanks, Robert, for joining us. And see you next week, Robert, and for the July 4th edition of Zoom Test Kitchen. But yeah, the blues version that Robert gave me was an MP3, and for me to share an MP3, I would have to route some interesting things through, and I don't have enough equipment right now to do that. But when it comes to and again, I don't have the karaoke version, which is the one I usually show everybody. So I'm thinking my usual go-to is the Deep House version 2 version. I'm thinking of going a little different, Fred. You like the folk one. The folk one is your favorite.
Do you have a world music one?
Do I have a world music one? Like it's sort of like an international feel?
Yeah, when I used to go do boxing, and it was in where were we at? We were in might have even been Puerto Rico or something. I don't know. I came across this category called world music. It's like dance music. It's like techno. It's like house,
okay.
But they called it world music.
Okay. All right. So yes, I do have a dance version. I think that we just picked our version.
Now you need to just get David's animated character to be dancing on there.
To be dancing on there. Yeah, you got it. On that note, yeah, absolutely. So we're going to wrap it up, and here we go. We're taking it back a little bit.
From screen share to breakout rooms, we push Zoom to its max. So sit back, relax, and let's see what's in our tech hacks. Zooming in, we're testing it all. Live on YouTube each week. From audio to video, no feature we won't tweak. We're the Zoom Test Kitchen crew, here to innovate. Join the fun, learn the tech, don't be late. We'll dive into the settings, explore every single tab. Make sure your mic is clear, your camera not a drag. Whoa. We'll show you how to host like a pro, manage like a king. With Zoom Test Kitchen, you'll be zooming with a zing. Zooming in, we're testing it all. Live on YouTube each week. From audio to video, no feature we won't tweak. We're the Zoom Test Kitchen crew, here to innovate. Join the fun, learn the tech, don't be late. We'll dive into the settings, explore every single tab. Make sure your mic is clear, your camera not a drag. Whoa. We'll show you how to host like a pro, manage like a king. With a Zoom Test Kitchen, you'll be zooming with a zing. Zooming in, we're testing it all. Live on YouTube each week. From audio to video, no feature we won't tweak. We're the Zoom Test Kitchen crew, here to innovate. Join the fun, learn the tech, don't be late. Whether you're new to Zoom or an expert in disguise, we've got tips and tricks. We'll open up your eyes from polls to quizzes. We test functionalities. Join us live, see what Zoom does with ease. So if your meetings lag, or you can't share your screen, or if your audio echoes like you're stuck in between, we've got solutions. We'll show you how it's done. Zoom Test Kitchen, more Zoom fun as it goes. Zooming in, we're testing it all. Live on YouTube each week. From audio to video, no feature we won't tweak. We're the Zoom Test Kitchen crew, here to innovate. Join the fun, learn the tech, don't be late. Stay tuned, don't miss out on this tech fest we lead. Every Friday, Zoom Test Kitchen, where you'll succeed. We'll make your Zoom game smooth, keep the tech in check. In the Zoom Test Kitchen, we've got your back, no
All right. All right, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for joining us this week on the Zoom Test Kitchen. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel to let YouTube know how much you like our content. And we're here, of course, every Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific. And don't forget to join us next week for July 4th version of the Zoom Test Kitchen here on YouTube. take care, YouTube. And we're off to the post show.